And welcome to Comic Book Spectrum. In 1 minute, we're going to have some creative conversation about comic books. So stick around, okay? I know I will be.
Seconds.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
Hi there, welcome to another episode of Comic Book Spectrum for Thursday, February 17, 2022. Hope you've had a good week so far. I hope you're prepared for some creative conversation on comics, news, views, and reviews. Coming up soon with our all-star panel, who I am going to unmute and bring them onto the show so they can share their excitement with you as soon as we do our thank yous. And one of them, of course, is to plasmafiregraphics.com. The look of your book matters to you. When you finish up your book, you want to have the possible channel, don't you? Of course you do. So check out Jeffrey Hayes. We were talking about Jeremy earlier. Anyway, check out Jeffrey Hayes and Plasmafire Graphics, and check out his Facebook page for some examples of some published works of his, and then go to plasmafiregraphics.com and look at some more samples, and then ask him about his rates. You're going to find him very, very independent, creator friendly, whether it's comic books, regular books, what have you. He's the man for the job. Jeffrey Hayes at Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. Also, we're a part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. After the show, stay tuned for Stupid O'Clock with Joe Dog McKeel and his very, very erudite friends, and they know what that word means. And they talk about all kinds of geeky stuff and science and all kinds of neat things, followed by Dan Hollifield's Last Man Standing. Then tomorrow on Friday, we've got a full schedule. So if you want to see what we're up to, check out the Rising Tide Broadcast Network Facebook page and give it a like if you would. Also, thank you to our Patreon supporters who keep this show on the air. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators directly. And if you want to see your name on this card, go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And for more information, you'll get it there. Anyway, I'm going to unmute everyone, and we are now joined by, we have the Fab Five tonight. It's all of us here. Yay! Some of us in varying degrees of ice and snow, but we're still here, and we have contingency plans. But anyway, guys, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Brian. This'll cheer you up.
I
told you.
Ooh,
yeah.
It took a moment, but yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's all. That's our show for tonight, folks. Anyway,
See you later.
Yes, right. Anyway, more fun with sharp objects in sensitive areas as the show progresses. But we want to get those rails out of the way. Somebody could
Absolutely.
Get hurt.
I wanted to destroy them as soon as possible.
Exactly.
I have a question. What rails are you talking about? You act as if there is rails. Where we go, there are no rails.
You know, that's
we
a
have
solid
not
point.
learned
That's
that.
true. Well, Carl seems to think there are. So
Yeah. For some
humoring him.
reason. Yeah.
Carl has more integrity than the rest of us.
Very true.
Well, I
that
tried.
may be the truest statement ever uttered on this the entire run of the show.
Indeed.
That's true, but it's a low bar to hurdle. So anyway, let's start with the introductions. Everybody, let's tell it. We should do this all at once one week. No,
That would be awesome.
well, you want to?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do
All
it.
right, everybody up for this? Okay. On the count, we'll go 3, 2, 1, go. And then all of us will explain who we are and why we're here. Okay?
I like it.
Mhm.
All right. Everybody ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm Clyde Hall.
Hey,
Now, Dream Rocket is returning, and I'm once again offering comics and DVDs that are starting next week. I'm also a contributing writer at Comics Book Daddy. www.comicsbookdaddy.com. Every Wednesday we post the finest DVD news, comic reviews, and interviews. Also a contributing writer is from Great Press, the book anthology series called Reality 1 and 3. Plus anything else, these wacky, wonderful videos, mostly for celebrating and comic
Very
books.
well.
All right,
If he
anything
can't,
with
he
film
doesn't
wrappers
want to
and a
eat
baby
his
arm
life.
holding
At
an
the very
apple.
end, he's going to be the last one to have the last word.
Yeah. And then I
And
farted.
he said the last word right about now.
Okay, there we go.
And we specialize in rail fetishists.
Oh, good one there. And here we go. And now we're going to start out with, and we hope you got all that, folks. Hope you got all that.
There will be a test.
There will be. And the funny thing is, I just realized StreamYard has a thing here where everyone could have gotten their own audio channel that we can go back and see. And I have no idea what I said after about 15 seconds. So
I got lost. My ADD kicked in about maybe 15 seconds in, and I think I just said syllables after that. I don't think I actually said real words. So we'll see.
I was the only one that kept bringing attention to Eric constantly drawing. I was like, look at his.
I know he
didn't
do a thing.
I jumped up. I said, I write comics, and I went back to the brick road I'm drawing. Because bricks, just like chain link fences, suck to draw.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Just remember, Eric, you did this to yourself.
I know. That's why I've only included the Yellow Brick Road on one cover, and this will be the cover to the trade paperback.
Well, there you go.
Well, and I hope you'll all keep your eyes out for our new Kickstarter campaign that Eric and I will be doing. It's called Chain Link Fences and Brick Walls. And we're also going to have extra pages in it, a special 120-page epic where all you see are that. So I know, if you got a hankering for
a yankering.
That's a different
yeah.
campaign.
Wow, you really went into sketch mode, aren't you?
With a special theme by Elton John.
Yeah.
By the way, Eric, I have to say, I am loving your Back to the Future cosplay tonight.
Oh, you like that? That's why I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was like, let me leave this on so I look like Marty McFly.
You absolutely do. I love it.
Well, I guess I'm working my way to Doc Brown, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think you're working your way, buddy. I think you're there.
Oh, yeah,
I mean that in every complimentary way that it's possible.
Way to save our friendship. Oh my God. So anyway, let's launch into the comments. Maybe they have something intelligent to say. Who knows? And Donna Carlene slinks to a seat and takes out her fireball. I have some room. I have some room in this coffee cup, so. Actually, it's tea tonight. So anyway, Carl Witzman is here saying, hello, everyone. I currently have a kitten behind my monitor just in case I just disappear. And yesterday, she pulled my speaker cable partway out during Nevermind the Furthermore.
Wow.
What a sabotage cat there. But she's such a precious baby, says Donna Carlene. That too, says Carl. And 1 minute to go. Can we stand the suspense? We couldn't. So here we are. And good evening to you two. And also to you, Sarah. Mwah! Fresh from a visit to her comic shop. Everyone saying hello. And Sarah's sending her dark heart and love to us. And wonder how many ads Desk will show. That's true.
We have book you vote for.
That's true. That's true. And I have to say, I did pick up this week's DC, and I'm horribly disappointed with how few Batman ads there are. I'm going to write them a letter of protest. So,
well, that's the book that needs no ads because people just buy them no matter what.
Yeah.
Yes, especially when that's all you offer in a specific week. So it's like Henry Ford. You can have any color of Model T you want as long as it's black. So you can have any DC comic you want as long as it's Batman. So I said as long as it's Batman, Carl. And what? Integrity, Carl? Thud. Everybody's getting into the act. It's Davies Artistry. Good evening, superheroes. Good evening to you, good sir. And don't forget Comics Unlimited tomorrow morning.
Good show. No, good show. It was actually today.
Yeah.
Today is Thursday. It comes on.
I have no idea
Thursday
what day
morning.
it is. I just know I'm supposed to be
so good
here.
show. Especially, it reminded me to buy my Ames tune soon.
That's right. It was on comic book lettering. I really want to see that. I missed it this morning. I got distracted by something. So imagine that. So anyway,
Squirrel.
Shiny.
No, he was too busy making sure I left before Cookie found out.
Yeah, there we go. No, actually, I don't care anymore.
Wait,
I want the world
I don't
to
want to know, but why was Brian Rodman in Cookie's bed?
Well.
That's
a gentleman never discusses such matters. So let me tell you what it was.
Right, yeah.
Our bromance continues. And actually, I do have integrity. I just may not have sanity, says Carl Witzman. So, and he's a former counselor, so he can self-diagnose himself. And Ted, we're glad to see you here. And hello to Sarah. And OMG, I need a lobotomy after this. Wait and see how well it's worked for the 5 of us.
Yeah, I've had 4.
Yeah, exactly. Everything north
One
of
for each.
brainstem.
One for each lobe. I see.
Right.
I was just going to say that north of the brainstem. I just said take everything out. I'm not.
I did find it weird. Lobotomy. They have to have you bend over and do stuff, right? That's normal.
Yeah, in my house it is.
Oh, okay. All right. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's what we're calling it now.
That guy on the street corner. That guy on the street corner said he was a doctor, and I believed him.
You actually bent over?
Well, many of us have been told that's where our brains are. So
yeah.
So makes sense. It's all perfect.
Well, that's what caused me to stop buying that X-Men Legends, because that's what happened to that one character got shot in the head. He did die because his brain's in his butt.
Wow.
I
all right.
Make mine, Marvel.
I'm done.
And Donna is being greeted by Ted Davies as Joe is wondering why he showed up tonight. Anyway, thank goodness the kid pulled out my speaker cable.
I'm the reason why we're not on the rails right now.
What rails? We don't need those.
We don't need no rails.
We've left the rails far behind. And everyone, and glad Rodman is okay and able to be with us, says Sarah. So are we.
Yeah.
There is air.
Yeah.
Let's say this. The air has been very rude the last couple days. And I need to see somebody's manager about this.
Well, Karen, it's like this. It's like the weather that the rest of us enjoy apparently is lethal to you.
It is. I'm sick of it. It drives me nuts.
Move.
I can't.
Broadcasting live from the Arctic Circle is Brian Rodman.
Oh, if only Alaska's cost of living wasn't just egregiously awful, I would consider it.
I've got a friend. I think he's in Newfoundland. That might be agreeable to you.
Well, maybe I'll have to do some research on asthmatics in Newfoundland.
There we go. See, and everyone's saying hello, and my love to Chris as well. It's Christine, the real host of Drinking with the Davies on Friday evening, part of the Rising Tide broadcast.
Well, let's be honest. That's the only reason we pay any attention to that show.
It is pretty much in the look she gives Ted, and we ain't talking the look of love.
Indeed. Yeah.
I mean,
comedy relief.
Exactly. Yeah, he's like the Fred Willard to Martin Mull. Sort of
she has withered plants. She has withered plants from 50 yards out. That look.
Oh, no
that
kidding.
look, you know.
Oh, dear God, yes. That poor man. Why Ted is still alive, I have no
When
idea.
when she gives him that look, I feel like I'm in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. It crosses gender lines here. I'm telling you. And Sarah says, "I'm grumpy that I couldn't get more bags and boards today. It's essential. I'm going to sue winter weather." Well, maybe you and Brian could form like a class action suit or something.
Well, no, because I love winter. So why don't we here? How about this? You sue winter, I'll sue summer, and then we'll just be stuck with spring and fall.
I can move.
Then I will sue
Yeah.
because I can't stand spring or
Actually,
fall because
I will
that's
say
when
this.
hay fever season
Yeah,
hits.
yeah.
and it
That's
hits
true. That's true.
twice.
Spring is Spring
Summer,
is also
cool.
not kind to Brian.
Winter,
So.
Summer,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Is there another bag and board shortage going on?
No, she just couldn't get to her comic shop.
Oh,
until
okay.
The snows came in. So yeah,
I got to fulfill a book here in 2 weeks, so I'm like,
Well, as soon as it defrosts a little over the weekend, maybe you should run to the store.
Eric, you mean you haven't been like the rest of us and pretty much just stocking up like crazy? Like when everybody's going to get toilet paper, I'm going to get bags and boards.
well, now we did there for a while. Toilet paper, we would buy a package every time we went, regardless if we needed it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But bags and boards, no. I mean, there's been a couple times I've gone to the shop, they don't even have any, so I just.
I couldn't do both. I couldn't get the bags and boards and toilet paper, so I got the bags and the boards, which made for some very awkward moments.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
But
you do what you got to do. So
yeah, man.
there was a creator that sent his comics out about a year and a half ago in Ziploc bags.
Really?
Wow.
Which are, I believe those are quite a bit more expensive than a bag and board.
Yeah, they are. Good Lord. Well, at least when you mail them, though, they'll, it keeps them nice and.
But of course, his book was also called, I believe, Super Harem. And it was about a guy whose sperm had superpowers and would give the women in his harem superpowers as well when he, use your imagination.
I am.
Yeah, it didn't look too good. I did not get it.
Ew. Anyway,
it may have been required. He may have had to. Maybe it was like a requirement that he bagged it with that kind of reinforcement. That's kind of that's a toxic content thing, I think.
With a warning label slapped on it. What has touched this comic before you is at your own risk.
Yeah. When the guy behind the desk at the post office always asks that question about, is there anything flammable or dangerous or could spill in here? Like, well, not now.
As long as you don't use a black light, you should be fine.
Oh, thank you, Jackson Pollock. And Sarah says, if people sue God, I can sue this weather. I do not consent. Hey, Sarah, I've got to give a shout out to, there is a channel on YouTube called Legal Eagle, and his newest one is about people who have sued God and Satan. And one of them was actually like a senator or something from the Bible Belt who.
But did they win?
Yeah, that's my question. Did they win? I mean, that's the real story here.
The case was thrown out. And the purpose was that the congressman was suing God for allowing natural disasters to happen because they were happening in his district, and he wanted to look proactive. And so the judge said, we cannot serve God with the papers to have him come represent
We looked everywhere.
Well, you see, that was the counter argument after that was thrown out of court. The guy who launched the suit said, well, God is omniscient, so he knows he's getting this lawsuit. No one has to serve him. So it's about 20 minutes long. It is absolutely fascinating. It really is.
Ridiculous.
It is hilarious. It really is. And yes, missed the Dingoes Tuesday night. There was nothing else to do.
Yeah. We decided that we were going to take the Valentine's week off.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of give us a little break, but we'll be back next Tuesday. Don't worry, Donna.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking for you too, and I'm like, holy cats.
We did announce it. Did you guys not see it?
No.
Yeah, I saw
I did.
it.
I didn't want go to Facebook. Why would I do that?
Yeah, we announced that we were taking a break. The week prior is when we announced it.
Okay. Well, I was probably doing something else then too. But anyway, Ryan Permison has shared the show. Thank you very much, Ryan. Really appreciate that. You're the best. And everyone, please share the show on your social media. And please give us a reaction, like, love, even a thumbs down. What the heck? And but how could you? And there goes Eric giving us a thumbs down.
I believe you still can. We just can't see it anymore.
Right, we just don't know.
That's true. Actually, I do know when we get them. I do know when we get them.
Dislike.
Go for it, Eric. Go for it. I know it's you. Anyway, happy Thursday, CBS crew. How are you? We are well. Ryan Permison, how are you? Check out the Nerd Culture channel on YouTube and subscribe to that after you subscribe to us. Anyway, because we got cool stuff coming and reported about. Thank you, Sarah. I see our Russian friends are with us, and I haven't said that much that's naughty. So anyway, and hold on, Ryan, you've got a great question there. I'm going to mark that, and we will come back to it after the reviews. Okay? And Smacko, bye, Rusky Bot, Carl Witzman, ever vigilant, ever keeping us safe from the commie Ruskies. Apparently, one of them's. Not joined the army yet. So anyway, Dead Dave's Artistry, Christopher is laughing her head off. You guys crack her up. I'm glad to hear that. We are. And here we go. And you got another great question there, Ryan. We will come back to that. I promise to stick around. And we've got J.D. Smith, digital artist. Glad to have you here as always. I would assume that 89% of comics from the 90s would suffice for that's white. I think you are a little low on that estimate there. Or even the 80s comics, for every Dark Knight Returns, there is a adolescent black belt hamsters. Okay. There is a lot of tripe, there's the thing by Theodore Sturgeon, the science fiction writer Theodore Sturgeon, where he said that 90% of everything is crap, and I think he was an optimist. I think we would cry if we knew what the real percentage was. And Ryan Permison is wearing. I'm sorry.
I wanted to say this, and most people going to jump down my throat for saying it.
Okay.
I kind of agree with it, especially when you look at one particular company in the 90s. Image in the 90s. Yep. Versus Image today. I take Image today versus the 90s.
So much better today than it was in the 90s. Yeah.
In a heartbeat, yeah.
But we wouldn't get the Image today if it weren't for the 90s. So I do appreciate them.
Right.
That's true. That's true. That's very true. Good point. And anyway, thank you, JD. That was great. And Ryan Permison is wearing his CBS shirt tonight in support. Just saying, thank you, my friend. Solidarity, right arm, my man. Right arm. Well done. And folks, for ladies at home, that's all he's wearing. Okay. And Sarah says, my boyfriend brought me so many comics that I ran out of bags and boards quickly. Spoke to the owner of the shop. He's holding them back for me. I'm just being cranky. So anyway, we're glad to have your cranky backside here, Sarah, and hopefully you'll get a smile or two before the next hour or two is over. But I understand that, Sarah's got a significant other who came into town and brought her comic books. Now, is that love or what?
That's a keeper right there, Sarah.
There you go.
Ooh, Carl.
Is somebody reading ahead here? Cut it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, cheers to Christopher from Sarah. And please don't kill Brian Rodman with jokes. There's money on the line, Carl. Okay.
Yeah. I'll just say, if I drop dead in this show, I think, who is it now? Eric, you win the money, right?
I think so.
Yeah. That's what it is.
So,
all 20 cents.
Right. That's all I'm worth, guys.
We're indie creators.
Yeah, we're self-publishers. What kind of money do you think we're made of here? We can't even afford Monopoly money. And Donna Carleen says, I don't feel sorry at all for you folks with seasonal allergy. I'm freaking allergic to life. I'm the same way with people. I've been practicing the social distancing thing for 10 years now. And it's hilarious that the disliker can't get attention anymore, says Sarah. Yeah, the thing is, once that kicked in, my dislikes plummeted. I usually got one, maybe two per show, because it was one douche nozzle who thought it would be funny. Hi, Eric. I meant that with love, Eric. Anyway, That's Mr. Douche Nozzle to you. But anyway, but no,
hey, if Ethan Van Sciver's videos are good enough for me to give them to, so are yours.
I'm playing rarefied air now, people. Look
well
out for
done.
me.
Well done.
Well said. Well said.
I like that. And I hear you, Donna, need a roommate. Ask Sarah. And I buy Chris or comics like Sabrina, Sorcery, etc. Hashtag I am scared. Well, you should be, Ted. You should do everything you can to appease that lovely lady of yours. So there. Well, you know, comics are what brought me and Cookie together. So no complaints. So anyway, please keep the comments coming. But we are going to start, I think, on our weekly reviews. And I think most of us got to the shop before the bad weather set in, unfortunately. So going in our usual order here, how about we start with Brian Rodman?
Before we start with him.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, wait a second. Yes.
We have to put the vote. We have to put the vote in first. So
that's right.
time to vote.
I'm sorry, Joe.
While Brian is doing his, they got a chance to vote. So this week, we can either do Lady Mechanica number 2. Well, actually, I should say Lady Mechanica Monster of the Ministry of Hell number 2, or Nubia number 4, or the last issue of Wonder Girl number 7. Now, if this gets picked, there might be something else that we have to talk about here.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, well, I think I know how Eric and I are voting at this point. It sounds.
That's my vote.
That's my vote too.
Yeah. Me too. Yep.
Yep. Okay. So, if anyone has a conflicting vote, please express it now. And we'll give you a minute. Actually, we'll give Brian. We will do it during Brian's review. How's that?
To make sure we're talking about the same thing here, though, it's like the Greg Land situation.
It could be, but no. It's my sentiments on how the last issue was I would say okay, but
it's not the Tracy
story. The story didn't end there. My problem is the story did not end there, and that's what makes it so.
I understand.
Oh, hey, Sarah wants to know what the choices are again. Sorry,
yes,
Brian.
The choices are again Lady Mechanica, which is a
Lady
steampunk
Mechanica,
sci-fi.
Lady Mechanica,
Nebulizer number 2.
No, Nebulizer number 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
who made those?
Joe's practicing.
Nubia and the Amazons number 4, or Wonder Girl number 7.
Okay. All right. So anyway, those are your 3 choices, and we'll get a couple more comments here. Sarah said we stayed at the comic shop the entire time it was open this past Friday. It was spectacular, and we had special comic-related gifts waiting for each other. Aww.
Oh, that's cute.
Nice.
That's sweet. That really is. And about Sarah moving in, Sarah would probably end up dying together, says Donna Carleen. And Carl Witzman votes for Wonder Girl. And then annoy people in spirit together. There you go, Sarah. You can haunt me anytime. And John Celestri, the original OG, there he is.
Jake Silly.
Good to see you, John. Check him out. I believe you've got a Indiegogo campaign right now, I think. Please leave a link for that, John, if you could. And then also check out his show on Wednesday afternoons, Dr. John, the original OG, always entertaining, always informative, good stuff on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. And that'd be cool, Sarah, says Donna Carleen. See, I've got their afterlife plan. This is good. And Chriser says Mechanica.
Ooh.
All right. And OMG, I have several trade paperbacks of Mechanica. Dissing it would be no bueno, says Sarah. Don't you be talking Welsh in front of us. Anyway, we'll give everyone a chance. We'll give another call after Brian's review, and then we will have a final vote. All right. We'll tally it at that time. Does that sound fair? Okay.
Sounds good to me.
All right, then, Brian, if you are ready, let's hear a review from you, young man.
All right, let's do this.
All right.
So, before we jump into my continuation on the amazing manga that we have available to us in this day and age, I would like to give you an update on the last manga book that I reviewed, which was Berserk. I'm on volume 5 now, if that tells you anything. This is amazing. I honestly, I got to tell you, this is so not for children by any means whatsoever. So know that. Other than that, this is one of the best stories I've ever read. And I'm only on volume 5. There are 40 volumes of this. So this is fantastic, folks. If you've never even read a manga book, it's real. I mean, it's yeah, you read it backwards. That's it. It is. This is so well written. It is so complex. Guts is, gosh, a tragic character, and I'm in love with the story. So get it. It's wonderful. Next week I will be reviewing Akira, which
Ooh.
I love this anime. It is so good, but I've never read the book. There are 4 volumes of this. This is volume 1, and I will be I had just started it last night, so I will be reviewing this sucker next week. So come back and hear what I have to say about it. But this week, jumping into Demon Slayer, which I will say this. I originally watched the show, not all of it, but I originally started watching the first season, and then when I started really getting into reading some manga, I was like, you know what, I'm going to push pause on that, and I'm going to get the book. So know that before, and most of the time I'm a huge advocate for reading a book that a movie or TV show is based on first. And so to abide by those rules, I started this, and it starts off. Let's see. I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna butcher these names, but
Billy Bob.
the story and art is by
Mr. Miyagi, Daniel San,
Billy Bob Miyagi.
Oh goodness. Koyo Haru Go. Yep, there it is. You try and figure that out. I can't. But whoever this is a very talented person, and I love your books. I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name. I'm a stupid American. But you start off and you get to know. We kind of start off in some action here. The main character is carrying his younger sister through the snow-covered forest, and he's essentially he's saying, I'm not going to let you die, over and over again. And he says, your big brother is going to save you. And so this is the first page. So you're already like, okay, what the heck is happening here? And then you go back, what you later find out to be a day before that. And Tenjiro is the main character's name. Haha, I can pronounce that, mostly because I watched the anime and I know how to from them. But he is the main character of the story, and he is he and his family, he doesn't have a father in the picture. As of yet, they haven't explained what happened there. So it's him, his mom, and his multiple siblings. So he is going down the mountain this morning to down to the village below to sell some coal, and so that way that for the weekend or the celebration that's coming up, he and his family will have enough to eat. So already he's volunteering to do a lot of extra work. You can tell he's very pure of heart, really, really takes care of his family well. His siblings absolutely love him. They're all wanting to go with him, and of course they're too little because there's a lot of snow. It's very dangerous. So he makes it down to the village, and he's very popular there too. Everyone, he helps people out. Just a really good guy overall. So he's down in the village interacting with people. There's a couple funny moments that happen there. On his way, he's about to go back up the mountain, and it is night by this time, and he runs into an old man whose house is right at the base of the mountain. And the old man warns him not to go up. In fact, he insists that he not go back up the mountain because he does not want him to run into any demons. And now Tanjiro remembers that his grandma used to tell him about man-eating demons that would haunt the woods and kind of barren wasteland type places. And he asks the old man. He ends up staying the night in, at the old man's hut so that he can rest up and go up early in the morning. And he and the old man kind of talk back and forth. He's like, so why can't so do demons just go and eat people in their own homes? And the old man's like, sometimes, but they mostly are afraid to do this because of the demon slayers. And that's kind of all they talk about at that moment. So he's like, okay. Well, he goes to sleep, wakes up the next morning, starts back up the mountain. And unfortunately, when he gets back up to his family, they're all dead. This is not a spoiler. This is in like the first 10 pages of the book. They're all dead, or so he thinks. He realizes that the oldest of his siblings, his younger sister, is still alive. She said she's the only one that's still warm. And so he picks her up and he's starting to carry her to get some help. Well, as they are walking through the woods down the mountain again, she wakes up and begins to transform into a demon, which the artwork is just, it gets more and more terrifying, which is wonderful. Like this guy knows, and I bought the next 2 volumes in a bulk pack as well. This guy knows how to draw some scary stuff. I really dig his artwork. I really dig. I mean, I draw demons in my comic, Memoirs of an Angel. You can go to bradandrobin.com and check that out. Hashtag always promote. But I am always up for someone who takes time to make a demon look scary as well as compelling, because you can get like the 80s cheesy monster look, and there's a place for that. If any of you guys have seen Psycho Gorman, there's definitely a place for that. But I love just this is more like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer look. So like subtle changes in her face, around her eyes specifically, and her forehead. So he starts fighting her off because she's coming after him because she's now transformed into a demon. And lo and behold, as this is happening, he's like crying out to her. Very emotional scene. He's crying out to her to stop and to, reach deep down within her. First of all, he realizes demons are real, and his sister is becoming one. And now he's putting 2 and 2 together that it looks like a demon came and attacked their home, and what later is explained, the demon's blood got into hers, and so now she is becoming it. It's kind of like a vampire, kind of like the European vampire type explanation that we're all familiar with. But as this is happening, he's crying out to her, and something happens, and she starts crying and kind of loosens up a little bit. And then a demon slayer comes to the rescue. Now, at this point, Tanjiro obviously does not want to be saved because that's his sister. He loves her, and they get into a bit of a fight. Tanjiro stands no chance whatsoever because this demon slayer is very fast, very well trained, very seasoned, and he starts running after him. Tanjiro starts running after him, and during the fight, this demon slayer realizes that Tanjiro has some skill, especially for someone who's never been trained in fighting at all. And but of course, the demon slayer, wins the fight, and in this moment, Tanjiro's sister the demon slayer has been holding her this whole time, and she breaks loose from the demon slayer and runs right up to the limp body of Tanjiro, and see if I can find it really quick. and she runs up to him, and of course the Demon Slayer thinks she's just gonna start eating him. She turns around and begins to protect him instead. So this Demon Slayer realizes something's different about these two. And he then gives Tanjiro instructions after he nurses him back to consciousness. He gives him instructions to go to a Demon Slayer trainer who can help them and who can train Tanjiro to do what he has said that he wanted to do in this confrontation, and that is find the demon that killed his family and save his sister from becoming a full-fledged demon. And that is what the rest of this volume is about. It ends on a cliffhanger, a great cliffhanger, where volume 2 picks up. I will say this. So that's the introduction to the story. When we meet the Demon Slayer trainer, he's my favorite character. He's really, really cool. I dig him a lot. I hope he's in more of the book. The pros of this book are the artwork. The overarching story is really well done. I'm very interested. I'm emotionally invested in the characters. I love that Tanjiro is just this very pure of heart guy who wants to take care of his family and his friends, but is so ill-equipped to do so in this situation that he's helpless. And he is trying his best to overcome every possible obstacle he can, even though he kind of sucks at it. And I really like that kind of character. So this is already, right in my ballpark as far as character interest. Of course, it's a horror book, so it's horror, but it's also adventure as well. It's not as scary. Like, it's definitely nowhere near as intense as far as scary as Berserk. Berserk, this is more for all ages. This is not. And I would say the cons of this book, unfortunately, so much exposition through the dialogue. And at the same, like, you're looking at a panel and they're explaining what you're looking at, even though you can see it and completely understand it. That is really annoying. And there's a lot of that in here. I think a lot of it has to do with just the style of writing. Because there are other manga that does that. Berserk doesn't do that. So going from that type of storytelling, that type of writing to this was a little bit jarring. But it doesn't happen a lot, and it actually gets a lot better. So they don't do it as much towards the second half of the book, which I really appreciate. The first half of this book is kind of rough as far as the writing is concerned. I almost put it down at one point because I was like, good grief, like the anime covered this so much better. And I think I went back and I rewatched the first episode, the first 2 episodes, which covers this volume. And I gotta say I like the anime more. Mostly because the most of the dialogue is the same. The storytelling, everything's exactly the same. Just hearing the voice actors do their job well with a great score and a beautiful animation just really makes this come to life. So anyway, I would say with all of that said, I still really enjoyed this book. I am absolutely going to keep reading this series, and I'll keep watching the show as well. So overall, volume 1 of Demon Slayer, I will give a 7.5 out of 10.
Nice. Very good.
I think a lot of people prefer the anime over the manga.
This one I do too. Mostly because the animation team behind Demon Slayer is phenomenal.
Yeah,
they are so good.
This is the question I have for you, since you're going to bring up the storytelling and the exposition here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the things that I caught in your review that makes me question why you hate it, but at the same time you made mention of one particular quality of the artwork, and it was the subtlety. Because you have subtle artwork as far as the changes, maybe that's the reason why they had to do the exposition in a way to tell you what the character is seeing, because some people may not catch those subtleties per se.
There weren't that the subtlety in there wasn't subtlety in those moments. There was like obviously this is what is happening. I know, I mean, look, like I do think, like, because I know, like, I've talked to my friend who has read far more manga than I have. He said that is very much a cultural thing. In some cases, he said it's not that way all the time. He said because a lot of manga writers, if they lean more Japanese traditional, it's this type of writing. If they lean more Western, it's this type of writing. And he said, it kind of just depends on, what you like. Like I said, it didn't take away from the story too much, but there were a few moments where I was like, okay, come on, like, I know what's happening here. I can see, I'm following the story, but that was it. I mean, it wasn't, and the artwork wasn't too subtle enough that you wouldn't see it. Because I even thought the same thing. That was a good question to bring up. Because I was like, well, maybe other people are dumber than me, and they just, they don't know. And I thought, no. But then I was like, I don't think so. I think this is pretty spot on. But I think it is more of just a cultural thing. I think this is more leaning towards that culture's type of writing than Berserk and even Akira. Because I started reading Akira last night, and I looked for that. I was like, are they going to do that type of writing as well? And they don't either. So I think it's if you lean more Western, you don't do as much exposition.
Mm-hmm. Well, my question to you is, thinking about these properties that have, mostly the more contemporary manga and anime. Mm-hmm. Which comes first? It's kind of a chicken and the egg question. In this case, which comes first, the anime or the manga? Is the manga adapting the anime, or is the anime adapting the manga?
In most cases, the manga is first, and then the anime adapts it. I know every now and then. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe. You know more about this than I do, I think. There is an anime called the Record of the Lotus War, right. And I think was that an anime first?
I believe the OAV came first, before the actual series. Okay. There was an OAV, and then the manga series came after, and then the rest of the anime followed after.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah,
cool.
But most of the time, it is manga first.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know that's how it is. Like some of the older classic stuff like Ranma 1/2 or what we call Astro Boy here in the States. So, but I was just curious that was the way it was done. Thank you for your answers, guys.
Perfect example is Lupin the Third. Lupin the Third was a long-going manga series before we got Castle of Cagliostro and Fujiko's Bad Day and all these other Lupin the Third movies.
Yeah, and same with was it Dirty Pair? That was one I liked back in the day. That was a lot of fun. But then again, I've seen stuff like some Ultraman stuff. I knew that in that case the TV show came first, but that's another issue.
And
there.
I want to say Tokyo Godfathers came out as a movie before there was any kind of manga as well. Mm-hmm. I believe that. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Very cool. See, we are the learning place. Stay tuned, folks. Who knows what you'll learn? And John, I'm so excited to see you. I forgot to read your comments, sir. John Celestri, the great animator and creator of the only part of the Star Wars holiday special that's worth a damn. Creating my graphic novel is what gets me up in the morning and keeps me hopping. See, and check out his show here on Rising Tide, and you'll see a lot of his enthusiasm. And it's beautiful.
Yes, learn some storytelling, because I know I learned a lot from this one.
Dude, I learned so much from that man.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I don't even draw. So, but it helps me when I'm writing for comics. So anyway, we have the votes going, and Sarah continues that Lady Mechanica is what got me into steampunk. I only want to hear it if it's a positive review. Stacking the deck there, and everyone's saying hello to each other. And Sarah says, I'll order one of the Demon Slayer books later on tonight. I've been eyeing it since 2021 free comic book day. There we go.
It's a great read, Sarah. I think you'll really like it.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff's really good. I really like it stuff. And Sarah continues, I looked at the full box set of Demon Slayer on Amazon, and it's over $300. I will slowly start getting them when I can. You might get free shipping, though, on an order like that. So... if that helps at all.
And they also are available on Comixology for like half the price. So
yes. And by the way, I will have some information on Comixology that I learned today that may help some of you if you like reading comics for free. And JD Smith, digital artist, says, great job with the Asian names, Brian. Do you read the character voices badly dubbed too?
I do, actually. Usually what I do...
that's rough.
Yeah, usually what I do, you awful troll is I will say it out loud in English, and then I will slap myself if it sounds stupid. So
there you go. Hey, yeah, I do that too. It explains the bruising. Anyway, Carl Wisman says that over-explaining could be cultural.
Yes, it more than likely is.
Yeah, in some cases it can be, yes.
Yeah, and I can see that also, especially when you consider the size of a manga page versus, say, an American comic size page. You know, that the lettering tends to be rather large, I think, for the most part in a manga, and at least the translated stuff. And you just don't have as much room in a panel or a page to do, you know, exposition in a compact way most of the time. So you wind up, you know, spending a lot of time on, you know, exposition, filling people in. Or it could just be the writers realize I've got 300 pages to fill this week. So, you know, we're just going to keep typing till my fingers hurt. Sarah says, over-explaining is what slows my reading down in the decades ago comics. It's distracting for me. Well, as a writer, I will say that exposition can be delivered painlessly. It all depends on how the writer does. But in this case, Sarah, we're talking about stuff that is in a foreign language and then converted into English,
where there might not be a direct translation for certain words. So in their culture, it might be directed to the point and they're not over explaining, but
it could be,
when it translated to ours, it's like, we're seeing it. Why is it, you know, being given to us in this format? That's the reason why I was asking about the scenes. It's like, was the scene subtle? If the scenes were overly subtle, then it's like, yeah, that kind of goes hand in hand, but he's like, nope, not the case.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for the explanation. And we are now caught up with the your comments, and the polls are closed. The polls are closed. And I believe since we threw our votes in for Wonder Girl, Joe, am I right? That would be the winner, correct?
Well, I believe it was three from the panel, 2 for Lady Mechanica from the crowd. So it's 3-2. So we know that Nubius doesn't work that way. So, and I know that you guys want me to do the last issue of Wonder Girl because of the cancellation.
Right. Yeah. Because and Carl did vote for Wonder Girl. So
yeah. So okay. So we're going to deal with Wonder Girl now. Before we get into issue number 7. We must deal with issue number 6 first.
Oh,
because again, it's like I'm more of a completionist. I don't want people to miss out on something. And before the show, I would actually made mention. It's like I never got to 6 because when I was about to do the day that I was about to do 6 was the day that we found out that the series got canceled. And I thought I did it afterwards, but we never got back to it. So I'm going to go quickly through 6. So pretty much where we left off is that Yara Fleur became, she finally, realized her powers and everything through one of the legends of Brazil with one of the legendary Amazons from that area dealing with protecting the one river. It's like that was what was her whole thing, and she eventually became like known as like this one sea creature end up meeting her, giving her version of her lasso or lariat, and so on and so on. And the Greek gods found out about it. They sent I want to call him Eros. I'm trying to think his Greek name, because the Roman name is Eros. Well, Cupid.
Yeah.
The equivalent of Cupid, but it's really Eros. They sent Eros down to kill her. Eros inadvertently, in the process of drawing his bow to shoot the killing shot, he cut himself with his own bow. So when Eros pierces you with his arrow, what happens. He ended up falling in love with Yara. So one thing led to another. He, instead of killing her, took her back to Olympus. So Mount Olympus, in that aspect, it tried to end up grooming her to be what she needs to become, to be linked to a god like Eros. Again, if Clyde remembered the whole thing about, hey, is there any pineapples in this? I'm allergic to pineapples.
Yeah.
So her first exposure to ambrosia and whatnot, that was her comment.
Mm-hmm.
So after finding out the person that she was in love with on Earth was killed by them, she kind of rejected Eros, which leads into issue number 6. And issue number 6 starts with her being tossed into Hades. So, or as they called it, Tartarus. Tartarus, Hades, same thing. So she tossed it to Tartarus and everything, and this is where she meets the Sisters 3, if you remember Greek mythology. And they are up here looking at her, and it's like, and she's up here trying to make small talk. It's like, and she's up here, it's like, hey, I would like to stick around for dinner, but she would really like to leave, but she doesn't realize that they was about to eat her for dinner. So now they rise up against it, and then all of a sudden, just before they could pounce on her, they see, they turn around, they see, and then next thing they turn around. Don't worry about the ad. I'm not going to mention ads here. Now we have the guy himself, Hades. So Hades picked her up and threw her in a cage, where she's going to be, remain for all eternity. Get it in frame. There we go. So she's trying to figure out a way to escape, and guess who decides to show up to talk to her? And it was Eros. And Eros is up here. It's like, why did you reject me? This, that, and the other. It's like, all of this would never happen if you would have stayed by my side and became immortal, like me and be by my side. It's like, and she was up here talking about, it's like she knows how she feels, and she's not being swayed by whatever is going on there, because she's up here, trying to figure out, does she really have feelings for him, or was it the effect of the arrow that she eventually did get hit with? And again, to give the ad again, so he leaves. He leaves. She's still there and trying to figure out what to do. And then here comes one of the guardians of Hades, and then they get into a fight and everything. And she does what she does. Figures out a way to beat the impossible without being completely trained or anything to that magnitude. Well, I shouldn't say trained, because they eventually trained her to be a perfect maiden for Eros and everything. So she had some training and everything, and she eventually defeats the Guardian. And while she does that, the Pegasus found her, aka Jerry. So she was so happy to find Jerry. Jerry came down, hooked up with her, and then was able to fly her out of Tartarus for the time being. So they're up here trying to figure out what to do and how to get back, and then they come across this gate. Now, this is the first time that she's up here. It's like, where's this gate? What's this gate lead to? And this, that, and the other. And they're trying to figure out what to do here. And again, forgive the ad. I'm not going to counter out that. So now we got Hera. So Hera finds out the news about Yara escaping. It's like, this cannot do. We got to do something about this before Zeus finds out about this, because Zeus is not going to be happy one way or the other. So they decide to try to go and capture Yara. And again, forgive all the ads. We're not going to worry about that. Now, back in Brazil, we have Cassandra Sandsmart and Donna Troy all together with the one tribe that Yara is, quote unquote, supposed to have been, linked to, because of her being chosen by the spirit that governs that land. So they run up into this one gate, and it's like, yeah, if we're about to breach the gate, we're about to go ahead and go to Olympus to stop, the gods from milling into the whole matter that is dealing with the Amazons, because they felt that the Amazons were supposed to deal with this whole scenario, not the gods. So Donna Troy led them there, and then they were about to get ready to lead the assault, but they couldn't get past the gate. However, that same gate on the other side, that's where Yara is at. So Yara is trying to figure out how to open up the gate so she could leave Mount Olympus and everything. She tries her best to open up the gate, and lo and behold, they find her. And now she sees the image again, and then she's reminded about her childhood, or a little bit about her childhood, and she now prepares for battle, and that's how issue 6 ends, which leads us to the last issue. I like the cover for this one. This is the alternate cover here. You have to forgive the green screen. I didn't turn it off before I start here. So issue 7 starts back with the flashback from her childhood and how her mother died, which kind of, enraged her a little bit more. And she yells out, "It's you." So you kind of have to forgive some of the dialogue being washed out here, because that's what the green screen is doing here. But on the other side of the gate, the rest of the Amazons are still trying to figure out how to get through the gate here. But back on Mount Olympus, Yara is about to fight the person who she believes killed her mom. So originally, if you remember from what I said from issue number 1, I thought it was Ares, the god of war, but it wasn't, so to say. So they start, the fight ensues and everything, and pretty much Yara got the upper hand until one of his minions attacked her from the back, and then the other side of the gate, for some reason, they're still trying to push the gate open, and Yara wasn't through fighting, so she knocks the helmet off of the person who killed her mom, and it turned out to be Eros. So I was wrong. It was not Ares, it was Eros who killed her mom. And then she's up here like, kind of like dumbfounded. It's like she was up here like, I have, kind of have mixed feelings for you. Now I'm finding out you killed my mom. And his explanation was even more messed up, is that, back then when she was a kid, his goal was to kill his mom. Either way, her mom was going to die. Either way. Don't worry about the ad. Ad plays no part of this here. So on the other side of the door, they still, trying to get through, trying to breach the gate and whatnot. So while all of this is happening, the Pegasus is still fighting, but yet Eros and Yara is still talking, and then all of a sudden Yara had an image of her mom. And her mom came and had like kind of like a heart-to-heart talk, and then all of a sudden it went from her talking to her mom in what I consider kind of like a spirit realm back to Ares, saying it's like, your place is by my side and this, that, and the other. I don't want to trick you into loving me and this, that, and the other. So he ended up, I wanted to show the panel here. It was somewhere up in here. So, he actually fell in love with her, but he wanted her to be the same way. She couldn't, betray her own feelings. So she eventually raised up and she hits the door with her version of the lasso, which opens up and breaches the gate. So there was a big kaboom on the other side, and here comes all the Amazons from the Brazilian tribe coming through the gate to fight Ares' troops. So now we got a montage of, all the known Amazons and, fighting the troops and everything, while Ares is still trying to figure out what he can do here. However, out of nowhere, Zeus found out and started throwing the master bolt at them fighting. For he was going to turn the tide for Eros. However, Ares tried to, try to, appease everybody all at the same time, while Cassandra looked at everything and said, "Oh no, I did not realize that it got that deep." So she goes up into the atmosphere, hoping to talk directly to Zeus. So Eros and Yara's fight, starts their fight again. Again, skip all the ads. We don't need, especially that ad. We don't care about that character.
It's not Batman Robin, it's bread and butter.
Yeah. So now we got Cassandra up here, in the atmosphere, talking directly to Zeus, because why? Zeus is her great grandfather. So she's kind of like begging and pleading with him to like let this one go. It's like this whole thing going on. It's like the whole thing between you and me, how we don't see eye to eye about types of things. That's what she explains, try to explain to him in the next couple of panels, dealing with her being in the atmosphere. While that happens, Yara and Eros continue to fight until, Eros got buried up under some rocks. He's really hurt pretty bad. And then that's when Eros kind of came to his mind. It's like, you're right to be angry. I did kill your mom, this, that, and the other. It happens. It's like, she's up here trying to take it as an apology. It's like, no, it's like, I would never, do this, and this. It's like, it's not even my birthday. So what he ends up doing just before Cassandra finally gets through to Zeus is that he released her from the arrow. It was kind of like his last gift to her to prove how much he did truly love her. And it's like, that was the kind of like the last thing that he's going to do, because he know that, this was going to be like the end. So Cassandra finally gets through to Zeus. Zeus is like, it's like, my favorite granddaughter. I don't know about favorite. And then Hera, sitting back up in the cut, kind of being angry because, her boy did not get his bride type deal. and that Zeus allowed this to go on, and what allowed what happened to happen. So pretty much at the very end of all of this, it's like it's kind of funny how things work out. They agreed not to see one another again, and here comes Hades, out of nowhere. It pretty much skip the ad, and pretty much grabbed Eros and took him to Tartarus, where it's going to be assumed where he's going to stay in Tartarus until he's able to escape again. And then they go their separate ways, and Cassandra now comes back down and say, comes back talking about, he won't, that he won't regret the decision of not allowing, Yara's wedding to Eros to take place. It's like he won't regret it as a whole here. So now the whole tribe and Yara are now together, and they're looking over everything, and then it sets everything up for the continuation of the story in Trial of the Amazons, Wonder Girl #1. So there's 2 more issues to this story that we won't get until, if I remember correctly, it's probably going to be March, April. Or it's April, May. I can't remember the exact dates. But we got 2 more issues of this story to come, but yet they couldn't continue on in this book because they canceled the book prematurely. But all that being said here, what we got here for the first 7 issues of Wonder Girl, and that's probably going to be what we got as the definitive end of Yara Flor's Wonder Girl series up to this point. Now, there's a couple of things that could happen down the line that really would speak volumes here, why it got canceled. One, the so-called rumor that is going on with the Justice League, and if they kill off Diana. Who's going to be Wonder Woman at this point? It could be Nubia. Technically, because Nubia is queen of the Amazons and Themyscira, and in her limited series, we're almost at the end because that's a 6-issue limited series, but that's highly unlikely. You got Cassandra Sandsmart, who was trained by Diana and kind of been like the understudy for her for several years, but I highly doubt that. You got Donna Troy. Donna Troy pretty much, she's there, but she's doing her own thing. So that's not going to happen. You got Artemis. Been there, done that. We don't see her taking up the mantle again. So it kind of leads up to possibly Yara taking over the mantle with all the others pretty much guiding her of what to do and try to be more like Diana. I don't know. That's speculation. Don't take my word for it. And then to find out that there's going to be 2 more issues, and that's pretty much the end of what we're going to have with anything dealing with Yara Flor for a long period of time. So this whole Trial of the Amazon, which is a 2-issue series, is going to go 2 issues. It's just more along the lines, they just don't know what to do with these characters that people like. But yet, we know exactly where their money lies at, and I get sick and tired of that. But to say, just to say what I'm going to say, as far as what I consider as far as the overall rating for issue number 7, I would give that a 8 out of 10. I still feel that this particular ending was rushed, only because of the simple fact that it got canceled. So you have to bring the end of the book to a good ending to not only set up for what would have been issues 8 and 9, but making it into a point where it can be its own standalone series for 2 issues, which is her own book up on the Trial of the Amazons, which is a continuation for what's left off here. So with that being stated, I give the whole run from issue 1 through 7 also an 8 out of 10. just because of the disappointment of the Bean Countess decision to cancel this series, because we got shortchanged as far as a full story arc, and they want us to believe that the first 7 issues is one story arc when we know it's not.
Yeah.
So there's my review. And if I sound like a grumpy, bitter fan, so be it. If I sound like a grumpy, bitter, let me tell you something, DC, as a fellow publisher, so be it. But I want you to read the story before you can understand why I say what I say here. It's a worthwhile read. I don't want the bitterness of how I feel sway you one way or the other. Read it for yourself. And after you read it, you can come back and say, hey, Joe, you're right. Or hey, Joe, you're wrong in this aspect. But read it for yourself.
Very good. Very good.
Cool.
Very good.
Yeah. Now we all know that the new Wonder Girl is going to be probably Stephanie Brown because everything is Batman now. So that's the way things work.
It could be. It's like the last Batgirl is going to be Wonder Woman. Wow.
Makes as much sense as anything.
Yeah.
Wonderbat.
Yeah, there we
Wonderbat.
go. Wonderbat. There we go. Eric, you're a genius. You're a freaking genius.
Some days.
I know. Anyway, let's see. Let's see. Where did we leave off in the comments? First of all, thank you, Joe, very much for that. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, JD Smith, digital artist, watching from Twitch, says, I much prefer exposition in comics versus movies. I turned off the Wonder Woman movie only after 10 minutes of exposition. Well, I can see that because you've got a film-going audience who may not know the whole backstory of Wonder Woman. So
Gal Gadot can expose as much as she wants.
I cannot argue with that one bit. Oh, we're pigs. Anyway, and okay, that makes sense to Sarah. And I asked my boyfriend a Demon Slayer question that was meant for the show. Brain Fire, he said, what anime, babe? You're talking to 5 strange guys, that's all. And Carl Witzman says of the previous review, it's like an Olympian soap opera for number 6. Probably could be. And good morning to all my pals in Australia. Cindy CKOEPP.com. Also check out her Patreon page. You can find it with those same letters. CKOEPP.com. She's amazing. We love her. And everyone says hello to her. They love her too. So anyway, there we go. Thank you for your comments, one all. Again, Joe, thank you very much for that very thoughtful review. Appreciate it. And you didn't sound too grumpy. Try harder next time.
Oh, okay. Next time, I'll probably tear up the book or do something that Eric would never, ever dare to do.
Oh.
Are you going to pee on it?
I might actually do a number 2.
Whoa. What were we talking about before the show about
2 comics, 1 cup?
Make great toilet paper. Comics can make great toilet paper. So,
well, your trial of Amazon's the first issue comes out in I think March 1st.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one that's got the. I don't remember if it's the cover image or interior art that was traced.
Oh yeah.
And she's an amazing artist. I don't know. It had to be a deadline or something. She just needed the poses. I mean, she didn't change much at all. But yeah, because she's a tremendous artist, Julie Jones.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
But
Greg Land's made a whole.
I think she did the artwork for it. That's the other thing. For the covers of the Wonder Girl book, she did not do the covers, but I believe that it's been a rotating art team for this book, and that again, go back and watch it. It's being counted as ruining IPs. I explained a lot more there about rotating creative teams and why that's a very bad.
Stupid deadlines.
Yeah, people. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to let Eric now talk about comics. Me? Yeah, you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you like to.
Okay, sure.
Okay, sure. Pick something.
Well, I bought 1 book this week, but I'm going to review the book I bought last week. So this week, the new Finding Oswald, regarding the matters of Oswald came out. I read this one, and it took a different turn than I thought it would. So I still like it. It just didn't go the way I thought it was going to go.
What did you think about the portrayal of the historical figure at the center of this? Because I thought he really delivered well on that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, it's a strange tact, but I wrote a review for Comics Bookcase on that issue. I rated it very high because I liked what he did, even though it did, as far as the flow, it really changes things. But
I just didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's sort of like, let me channel the personality of a historical figure, and then let the characters that I have painstakingly created answer what they say. And I was really blown away. I liked it. But anyway,
it's been a good series. I don't know how many more issues there are. I don't.
One more.
Okay, because everything seems to be a limited series anymore.
Yep.
Like Daisy, number 3 of 5.
Woo.
By Colin Lorimer from Dark Horse, and he is the artist and the writer of this story. And Joe, you're gonna like this one, man. This one's pretty good. I think it's better in the first 2 issues.
Wow.
Yeah. So the mother who's been searching for her son Colin for years, was shot in the first episode, resurrected. But they go into a little more about that. And that it was the creator that did it, not quite Daisy. And Daisy and the rest of the Lost Boys, I guess we'll call them, all the kids, they head to a cemetery so she could finally see Colin. And Colin's grown up. This is the only gripe I have about the book. And the art is tremendous in this book. But it's the mother and the son look nearly identical. Unless you can see chest up, then you know, because they have the same haircut now. But the son, Colin, he's a little grown up. He's got some tats. He's got some ink going. And she even says, your father would probably like that. Which I'm getting a little confused about who the father is, though. But they go on to talk about how Colin's father, not father, in the books. There's not a character they all call father. There is a lot of reading in this one. And he's talking to his mom about the Book of Enoch and how father was teaching them all about the Book of Enoch, which is a biblical book that isn't in the Bible. Am I correct, Brian?
Rodman? I believe so.
Not you.
But it's Rodman has stepped out of the room. I will look that up, Eric.
But it is one of the books that was not included in the Bible. It discusses quite a bit about demons and the Nephilim in the Bible, in the Book of Enoch. Yeah. So he describes how Father has been teaching them of this book, and the divine language of creation is a living energy that is written and interwoven into everything. Everything. Phone's vibrating like everything. Imagine it like God's fingerprint, His divine DNA. And Father has told them, all these children, this is what has cursed them. The divine God has cursed them and made them who they are, and what's wrong with them. And as descendants of the Nephilim, that they're cursed because of that. And the mom's even like, Enoch. Yeah, she didn't know who Enoch was either. But apparently Daisy fell into a coma about a year ago from seizures she has when she's channeling. And the Divine One, the Creator, spoke to her and told her they are not of the Nephilim. And they were all cursed by the dark magic of the Watchers. Which is an interesting take. So that's they believe Father has been lying to them the entire time. So Connor and Daisy take the mother to see the rest of the children, which we haven't quite seen yet in that have been cursed and all this, and they want to be cured, and they are some jacked up looking kids.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah, they say only a face a mother can love. Oh, I don't know. But she's horrified someone would do that to them, and she's nice to them, and apparently Connor's been telling them all about his mother, and that she will be the one to save them, basically. And you've got a couple scenes with the sheriff argue with some other kids, and Daisy has done something to the creatures of the forest, and they're going to save the kids from the sheriff. But they're all downstairs in this tomb of a cemetery and a mausoleum, and they're going to how would they put it here? How will we be delivered? We, the afflicted, we will be delivered by our affliction. And you finally get a really good image of Daisy. I'm not going to show it because I want Joe to be surprised with this one. But she's clothed. She's not nude, but her big long cloak is off. Her glasses are off, and she's crying out for a dear Lord to deliver them, and stuff happens. And I'm going to end it there because I don't want Joe to be disappointed. But this book has been this was the surprise book for me so far. That just because I saw the title and I needed something new, and I like to do like number ones and get a new series, it impressed me. And apparently, people at the comic shop just love it. They keep asking me when a new issue comes out, if I've been keeping up with it. I said, yeah. But talking about the Book of Enoch, which you don't hear a lot of people talk about because it's not in the Bible. It's one of the forbidden books of the Bible and
part of the
like
Apocrypha.
That. Yes. And the story keeps going in a good direction, and I can't wait to see where else it goes. And, the art has been great throughout the whole book. I mean, my only complaints is that the mother and the son look almost identical because of their haircut and their face, the way he's drawn, until you see, oh wait, that's a woman, that's a mom. But I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 5.
Okay.
6 out of 5. That's great. That's
your
great.
enthusiasm for this title slays me.
It's good. I enjoy this series. I'm really glad Joe's been liking it too. But because I haven't bought a lot of Dark Horse since the '90s when they were doing Terminator and Alien books.
Yeah.
But you classify it as horror. To me, this is not horror.
This is more suspense. There's not. It's right. I'd say a suspense mystery, but there's a good story going through. I mean, it's good, and it keeps you wanting to know more about the book every time you pick up an issue.
I'm still trying to figure out what actually woke up in issue 1.
Don't know yet.
We don't know.
Nope.
And we still don't know what Daisy truly is either.
Well, supposedly she's not a Nephilim, but now we don't know who's lying. Or if even the creator that spoke to Daisy is the creator. Yeah, no telling.
Because I'm still going back to issue 1 about the legend.
Yeah.
Is Daisy really the angel that got betrayed?
Yeah. And by some of the cover images, you would think she was. Yeah. I'll show you the cover for issue 4 if you haven't seen that yet.
No, I haven't seen that yet. No.
This one's trippy looking. And there's very little ads in this book.
Yeah, that one.
Nice.
Yeah, look at that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you got her little halo right there. So what's going on? I don't know.
Interesting.
And this thing has been coming out, like clockwork. March 9th, the next one comes out. I mean, it comes out on time, which is good to see from a book.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the ones Brian gets, but always late.
Oh, wrong Brian. Okay, yeah.
No, not the ones Brian puts out, the ones he buys.
That's true, yeah. I'm pretty Johnny on the spot when it comes to putting out these things.
Yeah, we all put out like pros here.
We do. And I see
Luna
has made a special guest appearance.
do you think we put out 2? Huh? Yeah.
Well, kitty kisses.
Correct. Enoch. There's a comment here by my wife.
Yes. Read.
Enoch is not in the Bible, but yeah, he is mentioned in the Bible.
Yes.
He's the seventh son of
Adam. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And
Actually,
he is mentioned that he was taken to heaven.
Yeah.
And according to Daisy here, he's the Metatron.
Oh, what?
so
Ryan?
I'm gonna put my Bible nerd hat on real quick.
Do this thing.
Sword drill.
The book, the book of Enoch is actually canonized in Ethiopian Orthodoxy, and everything
was written in ancient Ethiopian language.
Right? Yeah, and it was discovered in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Right.
Actually, Enoch is referenced twice in the New Testament. Once in I believe it's First Peter, and the other one is in James or Jude. I can't remember. So and actually the authors of the New Testament would have been very well versed with the Book of Enoch, because it was essentially it was looked at as historical narrative. To them, it wasn't canonized as Hebrew scripture, but it was looked at as historical narrative. Kind of like how we would look at history books now. Like,
now you're here when I was asking in the middle of my review, hey Brian, is that right?
Sorry, I had to go the other
No,
way
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, I answered for you.
But Enoch, the book of Enoch talks more about demons, the Nephilim, and actually a lot more about the flood too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Cindy Kep adds to that, true, but it's an apocryphal book, right? And Carl Wilson says the Council of Nicaea took it out of the canon. So,
good old Council of Nicaea. Oh, Brian, really quick, if you want to give me full screen.
Always, sir, always.
Yeah, if you like Daisy and books about the Nephilim and Enoch and stuff like that, Memoirs of an Angel is we're currently at. I'm finishing up issue 8. And you can go and check out all of these, which heavily steeped in that mythos at brianrobin.com.
Well,
now, are you still offering the trade paperback as well?
I am. It is always available on brianrobin.com as well. And the trade the trade paperback collects the first 4 issues. We have the first 7 issues available right now, soon to be 8 at the end of April. Will be on the website. Yep.
Very cool. Well done. Yes, Joe.
I know, Joe.
Because Brian doesn't get enough abuse around here. Anyway, Carl Witzman says, Callie Kitten, that's the new addition to the Witzman household, just tried to touch Eric's face on the screen. You have another face, I guess. So let's see here. My Sweet Luna, I believe that was a hit for George Harrison back around 1971 or so. And Donna, come get your sweet Callie. And here we go. Oh, and a real good point here from J.D. Smith, digital artist. The Book of Enoch is also a recurring theme in Lucio Fulci's Italian horror films.
Yeah.
And Enoch get her some kitty love in there. There we go.
Enoch has inspired a lot of really cool literature out there.
Yeah, for sure. And another fan, Eric. Sorry. Oh, well, very well done, Eric. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate that. Well, now I will warm up the crowd for Clyde. So here we go with my reviews. And of course, I do my usual gang reviews. First of all, from last week, my FedEx, you suck. Because my comic shop did not get their DCs until late, but after we did last week's show. But the only comic I got out of that was Superman, Son of Kal-El. Still good, still fun, really exciting as we find out what Henry Bendix is up to with The Rising. And special guest appearance by Aquaman in here, as well as the new Aqualad. I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10. It is really, really good. Lots of good interplay. Then we go this week's releases. Vampirus Carmilla. always a good read. Always fun. If you like short horror stories, this is a wonderful anthology magazine. And they started getting some, they've gotten a couple people who wrote for the old Warren magazines, and Lou Mojan, a friend of mine who is a current comics pro. But they've also gotten some artists as of late. I forgot to mention a couple issues ago, they got Kelly Jones, who used to draw Batman back in the day and drew the Batman Dracula books for Elseworlds. And this one has Alan Weiss, who's done a lot of work back in the 70s and 80s. He's drawn a story in here. This one definitely gets a 9 out of 10. Very enjoyable, very fun. Then if you read Superman, Son of Kal-El, then you need to read this. See, I picked up Nightwing. Beautiful cover by Bruno Redondo, who also does the interior. And this is a two-parter that will conclude in the next issue of Superman. But there's a beautiful flashback to when Batman and Robin are helping Superman locate a lost John Kent when he was still 8 years old. Lots of fun there. And beautiful art by Bruno Redondo, who knows how to draw real people and robots. So... And let's see, and some good interplay here. As it seems that Superman's boyfriend is looking for funding for his online newspaper called The Truth, and it turns out that his person funding it is Dick Grayson. Nice. Who has inherited a sizable amount of the missing Wayne fortune. And, of course, he walks away. And, of course, Superman has to conceal his identity. This is as close as he gets to a secret identity. And somebody is killing superheroes. And as he's walking away, Dick he whispers, Superman, I know you can hear me. Meet me at the crime scene. And so the two of them have a team up without fighting each other first. And you get to see Robin proving he's the second best, and I don't say that in jest, the second best detective in the DC universe. And I wouldn't call it a twist ending, but it's like, okay, that makes sense. Anyway, this is a beautiful book. This one is a 10 out of 10. Really good stuff. Actually, I should give it a 9.5 because you do have to buy another title that you would not have probably otherwise bought. But I can see why Clyde is digging Nightwing. Now, then, of course, we have one of my favorite comics, My Bad. And of course, we get a full cover illustration of Acid Chimp. He's wearing the crown of the Emperor King, and he's a chimp that likes to throw acid on people. Good stuff. And the important new superhero universe continues to begin right here. And so, and then of course we have who says comics can't be educational? The power of love is a curious thing. It makes one man weep, another man sing. Socrates. And this is starts out with the Chandelier fighting the Lion Man. But the Lion Man has a name. His name is Lion L. Richie.
Oh, God.
So of course he drops from I know, it gets worse. He drops from the ceiling and cries out, "Is it me you're looking for?" And of course the Chandelier gets the advantage on him because he's the Chandelier, and he tells him, I can do this all night long.
Oh, goodness.
And so Hero nabs Lion Man, Chandelier captive, mocked by children. And there's all kinds of, this is just a laugh out loud hilarious story here. Like, we find out why the Chandelier has perfected the art of being a billionaire. Like at one point he goes, "Do I really have to go to these boring board meetings? I'm a billionaire." And his butler says, "You do if you wish to remain one, sir." So, and the jokes just come left and right. And the Chandelier's butler shows how he likes to do the dusting, mainly with the maid. And of course, the Chandelier is off on an important mission, and it makes sense, and the Chandelier's kind of nostalgic because that's the way he used to dust with the Chandelier's mom too. And then we have, I know, and then we have the follow up to Rush Hour being caught in the death trap left for the accelerator, and oddly enough, why he's not grumpy, even though the thing has destroyed his genitals. And then the acid chimp in his own adventure there. Boy, you're getting a lot of comic book here, I'm telling you that. And even the letter column is funny. And then it has a thing where you can learn to draw. But there is just one hilarious thing after another. This is a 10 out of 10. We need
I love comics. It's just so fun.
I love that title. It is hilarious. I mean, I'm sitting here reading it today while Cookie is working. I'm just laughing out loud like I'm a balloon or something, which I am. But that's a 10 out of 10. You definitely should support that book. And another 10 out of 10 is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, where we wrap up Kara Zor-El's adventure in outer space, where everything is tied up together, and she is put to a moral test, as it is her companion. Makes a lot of sense. It's a beautifully written story by Tom King, and if you can't get every issue, wait a couple months for the trade paperback. This is money well spent. It is a super, super story. I don't mean that as a pun. It's beautiful art. Definitely worth getting. Definitely a 10 out of 10. Now, I was looking for stuff because, there goes stuff. Anyway, I'm, I get all this crap. I mean, your constructive, thoughtful criticism about I review too many DC comics. And, I like to talk up yours and your interests. And I thought, let's try something different today. And I'd been hearing people kvetch about Comixology. Comixology, for the last few years, started out as an independent company and was bought by Amazon. You may have heard of them. They're like Walmart, but bigger, with less ethics. But anyway, and I say that since they're my publisher, they're my printer. But anyway, Comixology has many wonderful titles, such as Amazonia by Jody McFee, as well as The Zombie for World of Oz by Eric S. Hawkins, the Pro Slayer. Mm-hmm. And I thought, you know what? They also have a line of comic books that are unique to Comixology. And I found one that I fell in love with the title called We Only Kill Each Other. Who can resist a title like that? The year is 1938, and there is a rise in the Nazi movement in America at the time. This is based on real history, where there were many American sympathizers who sympathized with the Nazi cause for reasons that are as deplorable today as they were back then. And there's also a gang war going on in New York at the same time. And so the district attorney hatches a plot. He gets the main crime boss, who is an older Godfather type gentleman who is a practicing devout Jew. And the other person challenging him is a lapsed one. And he wants, he's willing to kill some people in order to get that the big crime boss seat. And the two are in a jail cell, and the DA tells them that I will wipe your records clean, but you have to go to these Nazi rallies and rough them up and break up the group. You can't kill, bro. You can't kill a single one. Meanwhile, the Bund here have their own plan to disrupt things, and they're setting one of their own up. But see that beautiful art. Clear storytelling. And those are the two guys right there. And they're being, this is issue 4, by the way. And really clean storytelling, wonderful writing. The language is a little rough, no excessive violence. There's a little bit of blood, but not a huge amount. But anyway, look how clean that art is. That's by Peter Krause, who also drew My Bad. Okay, this is his serious work here, and it is gorgeous. And the story is by, let me scroll back to that, is by Stephanie Phillips, who's done a lot of work for DC and a couple of the independents. The storytelling is sharp. The writing is economical. and it's a 5-issue series. I found number 4 was released today on Comixology. I went back and got issues 1 through 3. It was that good. And I'm looking for issue 5. Now, here's the thing. I mentioned I could save you guys some money. If you have Kindle Direct with Amazon, it now works with Comixology. I got these for free. Okay? So you can read them. And some people have been having trouble with the new formatting. Now, I don't use the close view look. I like looking at the whole page. And that seems to be working a treat. I downloaded this easily using my laptop, and it reads through my Kindle reader. But it's just such a really well-crafted story. It has a cinematic feel to it that you could almost see this on the big screen with maybe like a Ron Howard type directing, or the Russo brothers. Really clean storytelling, wonderful art by Peter Krause, and terrific story by Stephanie Phillips. And I'm definitely hoping that these people do more stuff together. And this is exclusive to Comixology. So that's where you got to go get it. We like to encourage you to go to your comic book shop, but this is one. But buy another comic while you're at it. And if this works, now I can't. I'm not for sure, but if this is like in the book publishing aspect of Amazon, even if you get this through, Kindle Direct, they still get paid. Okay.
That's
am I right, Joe? Eric?
That is true. Anything that now, since they moved everything over to Kindle, the royalties are split up differently depending on the actual view numbers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of how it works in books as well. They have like a pool, and then it depends on how many pages are read, etc. It's easier to figure out, like Cold Fusion than it is to the Amazon ratings on that. But anyway, this one is another 10 out of 10. If you like crime drama, historical crime drama with some historical accuracy and relevance, I definitely recommend We Only Kill Each Other. And I love that title. So definitely, if you have if you subscribe to Comixology, or even if you have Kindle Unlimited, check out this book. It's really, really good. That's a definite 10 out of 10 there. And that's my review for the week. Thank you all very much.
That's awesome. I'm going to check out that book. I'm also going to get Daisy on Comixology, because that both of those sound amazing. And I'm sure whatever Clyde's going to tell us about is also going to steal more money out of my pocket.
I'm surprised that you haven't been buying into Daisy before now.
Well, I've been a little distracted lately with all the people who have just been shouting at me about something. So yes, Joe. By the way, cool little pin.
Yes,
it's going to be for the issue 2 Kickstarter coming April 22nd.
Definitely.
So no, but I'm definitely going to get those.
All right. Very, very cool. And Ryan Permisson is looking forward to reading Memoirs of an Angel Trade, Brian Rodman.
Well, sir, wonderful. I actually, Ryan, I'm really interested to hear what you have to say. You have some excellent reviews. Ryan's been writing reviews on Goodreads.
That's right.
Really great.
Very nice ones.
Really, really great reviews. So I am looking forward to hearing what you have to say about memoirs, Ryan.
Yeah, that'll be great. And Ryan, stick around. We have not forgotten your questions. And here we go. And we have an offer, ladies. Christoph Rademacher will shave his head clean if a woman smokes with him live on screen. Good for you, Christoph. Everyone should have an ambition. And Donna says, do cigars count, Christoph? And Donna, Carlene is listening to Carl and the cat out in the hallway. Carl says, just getting attacked followed by just getting attacked and immediately clawing the leg. And
Ow.
Yes, Cindy, less ethics than Walmart.
And you know what I found out about Amazon this week?
What'd you find out?
They will occasionally when you don't get your order for 5 days and it's supposed to show up, and you get a hold of them, they go, "Oh, it's stuck in the system. We'll get that out." And all of a sudden, you get a notification, it just shipped like that. They will invoice you and give you a tracking number for something that did not ship, and still never ship it out because there's no weight associated with it at the post office. Tracking number says 0 weight. Then 3 days later, it's like, well, you could cancel if it still hasn't showed up. Well, you didn't ship it.
Oh, follow us for more life hacks.
And also,
and all this for some Boys to Men pops. Good grief.
Yes.
I think we have some at our Walmart. I can see if you need them. And also, I should, after my little diatribe there, let me find it. Oh, yes. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, the guests, as well as the audience, and are not necessarily the opinions of the other members of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. They probably are... Yeah, they're probably grateful I put that in there. So anyway, now we come to hey, thank you, Brian. Well, you're welcome, Brian. Glad to. Anyway, we now come to the gold standard here, the one, the only Mr. Clyde Hall. Clyde, what have you for us this week?
This week, I picked up several good reads. I've got The Crimson Cage continues to be a great horror wrestling story based on Macbeth. Iron Fist was an interesting reimagining of the character. A little bit, I don't know, it didn't have as many hooks as like the Shang-Chi, the latest Shang-Chi, but it's good enough. I'm going to be picking up the next couple of issues to see where they go with it. It's a departure from what we're used to, but I do like the vibe that it's carrying with it. This was a very good pickup this week, although it is oversized. I don't care for that, but Aftershocks The Lion and the Eagle, which is it's historical wartime Garth Ennis, which again, he's not always one of my favorite people, depending on what he's writing, but
that's a funny name.
Rhymes with
penis.
Yeah, well, Garth P. Ennis is not necessarily one of my favorite writers for everything, but this is a very good, I think, an historical, accurate account of a certain situation and how it came to be during World War II. It's understated. It's good character building. I really did I don't like the size, but I really liked this issue. Yes.
Like the size of the anus.
I actually passed on that issue. I could have picked that up, but I ended up getting something else this week that I didn't tell people about, but I want to see if you got it.
Okay. This came out, although it says it was supposed to be October 2021, my comic shop swears it just got here today or this week. So this is a reprint of Pre-Code Horror. And
who's that from?
This is by Asylum Press.
Okay, cool.
And it has oh gosh, let me look here. It has it's kind of like walking through childhood, because this is the sort of thing that they used to put in black and whites back when I was a kid that shouldn't have been reading it, but my mom didn't know that it was what it was. So exactly. Yeah. But you have work by people like George Klein and Dick Beck and Cy Grudko. And there's a lot of them that's like, High Fleshman, Lou Cameron, but there's a lot of them that are like, we don't know. We have no idea who drew this.
Lou Cameron was a very popular artist back in the 40s, although he didn't I don't think he worked for any of the majors. And there was also a writer named Lou Cameron who is one of two people who were said to have been dangled outside the DC office's window from the 5th floor by his ankles.
Ooh. Okay. I've heard the stories. I didn't know he was one of the danglers, but okay.
Yeah, he was one of the danglers. He was said to be one of the danglers.
Web of Mystery number 2. He's in fact his art is on that first page there.
Hey,
That's nice.
hey, Clyde.
Yeah.
Is Mr. Enos a dangler as well?
You know, I can't find his middle name anywhere, so
I'm telling you, it's got to be Philip or
Yep.
Yeah.
Preston
Well, if you
or
believe
something.
if you believe the Me Too movement from a few years ago, he is said to be a dick. So.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, this was interesting and in varying degrees. There's I think 5 or 6 stories in here. Some of them are just one page, which is always kind of cool to see the old-fashioned one-page horror stories. So those were good reads. This I got a preview issue of, and then I also bought I liked it enough. I actually bought the hard copy too because I really liked this different turn. It does change the course of this series, which Eric has reviewed several times, several previous issues, I believe. This is my first shot at over at Comics Bookcase getting to review one of them, but this one's. Yeah, I said shot, but
they are trying to derail you so bad, Clyde.
I know.
Sorry, I'll shut up.
I just keep right on. Well, we don't have any rails, so they are bound to failure.
I can't promise you that I'll stop.
See, Clyde, you learned already.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this whole series and this issue, although there's one more after this, it culminates all the character building that they have done. Christopher Cantwell, excellent writing chores on this. We were talking earlier about a withering stare. There's a character in here that you can feel the heat off the page of the stare that she gives the Lee Harvey Oswald character as he's talking about his complicity in the historical event that this is centered on. So it's a good read, and I have read a lot of stuff about the JFK assassination. I was only about 1.5 when it happened, but it's one of those things that definitely impacted my generation. So I've read a lot of books and fictional stuff and watched movies and watched documentaries, and I have this feeling based mainly on the people that knew Oswald, his family and his friends, what kind of a person, he was behind just the historical personage. And Cantwell nails it. I couldn't have imagined anybody putting down this historical person and their personality as succinctly as he does in this issue. That doesn't mean that's a good thing. He's a deplorable individual, but the mastery, it's like having a preconceived idea from all the things you've read, what the person would be like to sit down and have coffee with. He's got it. And so I gave that very high marks in my review. But
they need to make a movie and have Gary Oldman play Oswald again.
I thought of that. Yeah. As I was reading this issue, I was like, they need to make this into some kind of a special series, a limited series, like 11/22/63.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great. I'm hoping that they would do something like that. But this is a book. I got the first issue and thought, it's very odd. So the second issue has come out and I've got a better handle on it, but Apache Delivery Service. This is it seems like it's a war story more than anything else, but it's also horror. You forget that because the first 2 issues are very much about the Vietnam War. But you begin to see as number 2 nears its completion, oh yes, the horror elements are coming in. It's just a 4-issue limited series. So it's very minimalist in the way that they go about their business, but here's the cover. And the first one has that definitely has a horror vibe on the covers, but you don't get that in the first couple of issues until number 2 is well underway. But I'll show you here. This is written by Matt Kint. The art and letters are by Tyler Jenkins with colors by Hillary Jenkins. And you get a really good feel for, it kind of makes the Vietnam jungles feel like a cursed forest in a fable as it goes along. You kind of get that with that imagery there. And it definitely, the way it's laid out is fairly standard. I mean, you have several panels here. If you look at the word balloons, that kind of threw me on the first issue. There's more text, there's more dialogue in this issue, so it's not as bad. But as you can see at the one at the bottom down there, big word balloons with just small words in them. I don't know that, but the artist is doing it to himself, so I guess it's okay if he's walking part of his artwork with big balloons and small words. We do have some nice big full-page images of the jungle at night. And also the things you find lurking along the path in the jungle at night to warn you to go away. So, to me, the writing is the strength of it. The imagery is interesting, but together they are making it very atmospheric, moody, and creepy. So this is Apache Delivery Service 2 of 4. It's Dark Horse Comics $3.99. Again, it's written by Matt Kint, art and letters by Tyler Jenkins, colors by Hillary Jenkins, and it is rated mature. And my disclaimer, while I write for various sites, this is my own independent feature, and it shouldn't be considered representing any views of those other sites. This is a war story told in broad strokes. It's a horror story utilizing the Vietnam War as grist for a moody atmospheric backdrop. And it reminds me of the kind of thing that you would have found in creepy or eerie, or if it was toned down, DC's Weird War Tales of the 70s and Bronze Age era. Or if you left it the way it was, it could have been within the Vertigo imprint of Weird War Tales.
R.I.P.
But this, I'm sorry?
I said R.I.P.
R.I.P. The 4-issue Dark Horse miniseries, Apache Delivery Service, delivers the second issue, and it begins shaping into a 1967 wartime fable filtered through a malaria-induced high fever. Because there's imagery and there are details. I first thought maybe they were mistakes, but I think there's some question as to how valid the reality of our main character is, which is always a good way to do a horror story. It started off as a stylistic war narrative resonating with Apocalypse Now sensibilities in the first issue. And by number 2, it's become a story of a legend of hidden Nazi gold, a bullet-ridden miracle moment, and a visual mixing of wartime jungle with hippie culture normally relegated to the world back home during the Nam era. Writer Matt Kint is crafting a reality which tracks historically on first glance, but you have these growing inconsistencies around the edges as the story continues. And it's slowly calling into question what protagonist Ernie Nez experiences during the story. Reality is playing just a half bubble off plum, and doubting reality, again, is always a good mausoleum solid foundation for supernatural horror. Ernie is a grunt in the U.S. Army, and he is Diné. He is a member of the Navajo Nation. As a youth in Arizona, he was mentored in skills of hunting, and in Vietnam, he's learned to use some of those skills slipping behind enemy lines undetected. Now, he scoffs regarding any kind of special Native American talent for tracking or the other things his fellow soldiers know about him, including their insistence that he's an Apache. And this includes his commanding officer. He's told them, but to them, he's an Apache. You know, he's their Apache, and he's one of the trump cards they're holding in payback to the enemy. So when Ernie stealths his way deep into enemy territory, he locates a prime target and he quietly radios in its coordinates for an airstrike. The bombs that they deliver are marked Apache Delivery Service in recognition of his efforts. It's a recognition that he doesn't care about because he likes the duty he performs because it gets him out. by his lonesome and away from the rest of his unit. He can't stand them, or how they embrace the brutality of killing. For him, killing is something necessary, but never something to be glorified or celebrated. So, while out on one of his solo patrols, he falls into a trap and he wakes up in the custody of a treasure hunter named Sabra. And Sabra is on the track of a legend about gold sneaked out of Nazi Germany aboard a Japanese battleship near the end of World War II, and then hidden within Vietnamese caves before the Imperial Navy admiral in charge mysteriously disappeared. And Sabra needs someone as familiar with terrain as Ernie is to help him locate the cave complex in exchange for half of whatever treasure they find. The legend is that treasure is enough to fund a nation's economy. So the duo maneuver past traps and patrols as number 2 proceeds, and in one encounter in particular, there's a miraculous nature rivaling any freak occurrence in Pulp Fiction. And yet, along their trail, macabre signs increase, those grinning boneworks bearing the symbols point toward the one teensy detail that Sabra has neglected mentioning, but which the title's felicitation blurbs included: the caves are allegedly guarded by ancient witches. And so, Matt Kint's storyline is minimalist, and if delivered in simple Bronze Age fashion, this story would have taken lead as a primary Weird War Tales story with a short backup feature included, or maybe a full issue, but Kint is creating moods and perceptions, and he's taking his time and using the space, relying on Tyler Jenkins' art for driving the rusty, humidity-moist nails of that vision home. Together, they craft the entire POV imagery and the insights with pictures as ugly as evening news footage from the war. Jenkins' artwork is given space for building Ernie's unrest and the disdain for his fellow soldiers. When you see like necklaces of ears that the other people in his unit wear, it's just a really realistic and yet disconcerting view of war that they're building. And it echoes some of those macabre Brothers Grimm tales, in their original versions that were, where the dwarves from Snow White put the cruel shoes on the evil queen, and they make her dance, the evil witch, and they make her dance until she dies. That kind of a war and horror combination. And he also embraces that war's chaotic insanity that filmmakers have tried to cage, from Apocalypse Now to Platoon. Jenkins also handles the lettering duties, and again, it's weird with the oversized speech balloons, but they do serve well enough, and their size contrasting the font size. Distracted with the first issue, you have more dialogue here, so it's not as bad with number 2. Hilary Jenkins provides the color art and bestows that edge of the world consumption of light, which heavy jungle terrain provides. And then she mixes it with hues, bringing Dante's dark woods into the reader's mindset, as well as the precarious positioning along the trail of damnation. All 3 of the creative team talents are working well in concert, and they share a reciprocal vision, which distances this from a typical wartime or horror title. It feels very much a war subgenre is being built upon in the way they're doing it. In its scope and its approach, this may end up being seen as extremely fresh, or it might not quite satisfy fans of either horror or war genre. But number 2 makes a solid case, I think, for what this team is creating and attempting. So my score for Apache Delivery Service number 2 is 7.5 out of 10.
Very nice.
Thank you.
I almost picked that up when the first issue came out, but something made me not pick it up. I don't remember what it was.
Well, that first
I even had it in my hand. I was like, put it back.
That first one's a lot of imagery, not a lot of talking. And it, a wartime horror story. Okay, I had some preconceived notions going in, and I didn't know how to take it really. I kind of see now what they're building toward, but they're taking a long, this could have been a single issue pretty much if it was done traditionally. It's very non-traditional, but
well, that's the thing. I love Garth Ennis, whatever. I prefer to make the cheap jokes, but no, it's like I'm a big fan of his war work. I mean, he does good stuff on superheroes. I've seen him do some Batmans that were pretty decent, but I love his war work. He did a lot of those back in England before he came to work in America so much, and he's highly underestimated as a writer as far as those. But those were a lot more realistic, I guess you'd call it. They weren't so genre blending as the other.
Right.
So very good, Clyde. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So now I know that he didn't pick up the book that I ended up picking up.
Yeah. What did you get?
That one,
what'd you get,
Joe?
Joe?
On the other one, I ended up getting G.I. Joe: The Saturday Morning Adventures.
Ooh.
Oh, cool.
My shop did not have that.
My shop did. I was tempted for a moment.
I should have it next week, so I will let you guys know what I think of it.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear that review. That sounds good.
My shop never gets any G.I. Joe, basically. Nobody buys it, so they don't order it.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Anyway, Clyde gets a compliment here from Carl Witzman. Clyde Hall, always the professional.
Thank you, Carl.
And wait, I'm older than Clyde only by a few years, though. And he says another stellar review. That's right. Always, as always. And the thing has shown up, Mr. Grimm. Good evening to you. How's the rest of the family? Yes, it is clobbering time, as always. And Marshall
hopefully
Lewis
everything is peachy on Yancey Street.
That's right. We don't allow those Yancey Streeters in here. We do have Russian bots, though. Marshall Lewis walks in.
The new what was it called? The Future Foundation Tower is now on Yancey Street.
That's right. That's right. Yes. That's good. Marshall Lewis is now sitting down. He's watching, and he watches. So behave, everyone. So anyway, very good, excellent.
But I just wonder if he watches, who's watching Marshall?
Mm-hmm.
Who watches
the
Watchmen?
Watching Marshall. Anyway, we have anyway, I have 4 eyes. I can do that. But anyway, Ryan Permisson started our show. And Ryan, we hope you're still here. We have a couple questions from him I think we can run through in the brief time we have left. And the first one is Ryan asked question, just watched the Snake Eyes movie and enjoyed it. What G.I. Joe or G.I. Joe / Transformer trades should I check out?
Well, if you like the movie, probably none of them.
That's a good honest answer. I'm just up here thinking to myself, it's like, you know what? The movie is nothing like the comic books at all.
Yeah.
Not even the Image ones.
Yeah. Well, I do know that they did at one point reprint the old Marvel ones. I don't know if that's still in print.
They are on Comixology.
Okay. Okay.
So I did look for those this week, actually.
And
those were good. Those were actually really good, Ryan. You might check them out.
They just recently re-released the original G.I. Joe versus the Transformers. And they just did another series using both up under IDW.
Pat Lee, the artist on the first?
I believe so.
Yeah, those were so good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wish they would reprint the ones, you talk about the G.I. Joe and the Transformers. I wish that if they could reprint the British ones, because back in the 80s, when Marvel had the license,
Action Force,
yes, exactly.
Right.
And they also had a Transformers one, and I remember the Transformers, a number of them were written by Grant Morrison, before he started self-medicating.
The evil one, the one that you cannot write after.
Yeah, he pretty much sets the bar in a certain place. It's like, I don't know. He's a tough act to follow. But anyway, we hope we helped you out with that one, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm a Hama purist with the Marvel book, so
I am too.
Yeah, that's my G.I. Joe.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's also a lot of good art in those from like Ron Wagner drew a number of the issues.
Mike Zeck did so many covers. Oh, great covers.
Oh, they're beautiful. Yeah, Mike Zeck's work. Anytime you see that, check it out. He's a really underrated artist. And I was thinking, who else? Todd McFarlane drew a couple of issues before he went to Image.
The later ones, yeah. The later ones he drew.
And his layout style was completely different than what it is now. It's a lot more straightforward now. So,
but if you want a quick read, go find G.I. Joe 21.
Yes, that's a classic. It's the silent issue, and you can read it and reread it and reread it, and it just gets better and better every time. I say, and I think they tried another silent issue later, but it just didn't have quite the impact of the original, in my opinion. So, but definitely check those out on Comixology. Although he likes, Ryan does like the trade paperback. You might find some of the G.I. Joe files that I think. Was it Boom or IDW put out? I can't remember. But anyway, I saw them in my comic shop, at least some of them this week. So these were from some time ago. And Ryan also asks a question: if I want to try reading manga or watching anime, where should I start?
What do you like? That's the
yeah.
Very, very, very different. The genres. I would say there's a lot more choices genre-wise when it comes to manga than there are American comics, it seems. They have some really good slice of life books out there. I'm about to get into those. Joe, back me up. I would say start off anime-wise. I would definitely watch Akira, and I would start watching some Studio Ghibli movies. I would say Studio Ghibli is my personal favorite. As far as series wise, I'm gonna go total Toonami and say Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing. Starting off, man.
What about Voltron? Come on,
Voltron's good. Joe, what do you think?
I'm more along the lines. I need to know what he prefers mostly. I mean, I know that he's a wrestling fan. So now I'm up here. It's like, okay, you might want to think about Grappler Baki or Shoot Fighter Tekken.
Okay.
But beyond that, it's like what are you in? You know, I mean, it's like he likes Star Wars. So if you like Star Wars, so up here it's like, well, you got Macross, you got Battleship Yamato, aka Star Blazers, you got Captain Harlock and the Space Pirates. I mean, I'm going more old school than new school because I'm thinking new school. You got Tenchi Moryu, which would be kind of like that, but it's not as sci-fi-ish as a whole here. You got Outlaw Star.
I would say Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, Ghost in the Shell is another. Okay. The original Ghost in the Shell movie, yes. As far as a series, I would say second gig. Ghost in the Shell, second gig.
Oh, I've only seen the movie.
Okay. So Ghost in the Shell second gig would be like the anime series of Ghost in the Shell to really follow if you're really into that. The movie is good, don't get me wrong, but it just seems like second gig really personified that world a lot better here. Sandy was up here talking about Sword Art Online, but Sword Art Online that's an ebb and flow. That's an ebb and flow because the main character Kubito goes through a lot of different aspects of online gaming that a lot of people would not catch on right away. You know, from the first story arc to the last story arc, I mean, it's night and day difference.
Yeah, and I see that. Pardon me, Cindy Kep says that the second season wasn't worth the electrons, but they crossed the no-go line for me. Cindy, I'd be interested in finding out what it is. If you don't want to tell us here,
it's the second season dealing with the death gun. When dealing with the death gun, the second story arc, which is dealing with the death gun, when they had the online assassin game.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking here, because they had Kirito go back into those MMOs to figure out what is actually going on with that game, with that one weapon, which is called a death gun. Because if you die by that weapon in that game, you actually die in real life.
Oh wow, wow. Well, anyway, Cindy, I'd be interested. I'm just curious if you want to DM me on Facebook and let me know that if it's something personal.
That one I will agree. That's that season or that story arc. It was like, what are we really watching? It didn't make any sense. Not with the what they did in the previous story arc, and then the story arc after that, it was like way beyond what people understood. It's almost like that whole Death Gun story arc did not even happen. Type deal.
Well, Cindy actually does tell me what it is, and thank you for answering, Cindy. Second season of Sword Art Online had an on-camera sexual.
Yeah, that's during the Death Gun. Yeah, that's during the Death Gun. That's during the Death Gun.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
That was during the Death Gun story arc that happened. That was so controversial.
Yeah, I get that. And she also says in anime, she enjoyed Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Legend of Korra, Voltron, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon was cute. And My Neighbor Totoro, Ranma one half. Now I don't know, is that one half? I always said one half, but is that one of two?
Well, it's in the West. It's one half. It's
okay, then I did it right. And Lodoss Wars, I agree.
Lodoss Wars was okay. That was okay.
Lodoss War, I started it not too long ago, and Lodoss War is actually a lot of fun. If you like Lord of the Rings, you will love Lodoss War for sure.
Now I would make mention of this. Yu-Gi-Oh! It depends on where you come in at, because each generation of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is really different from the other. So if you start at the very beginning, excluding what is known as season 0, because season 0, if you watch season 0 and then you come to what most people know as Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's a night and day difference. And you're going to be up there like, man, I really wish they would have gave us more of season 0 where there was consequences. To play to the quote unquote shadow game.
Well, as far as most of mine is manga influence, but I'd say Ranma one half. And I'm like Joe, I'm more old school than anything. I also like, if you like science fiction, I would say Dirty Pair is a lot of fun. Also, we call it Astro Boy in this country. Over there, it's Tetsuan Atom, but it's also a series of anime here. That was the first anime that hit primetime television. I think ABC ran it for a season in prime time. I'm trying to think what else I enjoy. Oh, Lone Wolf and Cub. If you like, Asian, type of adventure.
If you like The Mandalorian, you'll probably like that. Good choice. Good thinking, Eric. And it is one of those, and it was very influential to Frank Miller in his approach to a lot of his comics. We've got some other suggestions here, and Cindy says she hasn't bothered with Sword Art Online since then. Understandable, completely understandable. Damian Waldron, good to see you, my genius friend. Cowboy Bebop, cross genres, 27 episodes in a movie. Oh, and what was another one? I only saw like the first 20% of it, but I enjoyed Naruto. Because you got to see a character that would be
really evolve.
Next
I hate to be the negative Nancy on it, because Naruto to me really didn't get good until after you get past Shippuden and dealt with his son Boruto.
I've heard Boruto is awesome, but I like Naruto too, because I like the fact that he was growing in that it wasn't just static like so many comics.
You have to watch Shippuden, because the original Naruto series is just like, it got annoying. It wasn't good until you get into Shippuden, where everybody else came into being, and you saw how Naruto had to grow to protect everybody. Because there was so much stuff going on with all the other personalities, and so much conflict and war that was going on, that it was not just like, okay, I'm just going to be Hokage anymore. It was more along the lines, it's like, no, we have to defend this village. Forget about the dream. Let's deal with why all the different tail beasts are now trying to be extracted from people, and all the other craziness from ninja war that's actually happening. That's why I like Shippuden so much better than the original Naruto series. The original Naruto series was like, okay, the campy kids type deal is like, you could become the next Hokage, and it's like Shippuden is like, no, let's really get to the real storytelling of how he became Hokage.
Right.
He had to go through all of this and had to mature and grow. Yeah. So did Sasuke. So did all the kids that we saw in the very beginning grew by leaps and bounds in Shippuden.
Yeah, I can see that. Carl Wisman has to run. Have a good evening, folks. Carl, thank you for being here, my friend. We were worried we might have to call on you with my power flickering and all, but go forth and thank you for watching out for the Russian bots for us. And City Cap agrees with you, Joe, that Naruto is apparently amusing for many folks. Couldn't get into it. The brat kid was annoying. Yeah. Once you get past the first, I'd say probably the first 8 volumes, he starts to tone down.
8 volumes of annoying.
Yeah,
8 volumes of annoying. I like the supporting characters.
I think so. No, thanks.
I like the supporting characters.
Hey, has anyone watched Arcane on Netflix?
I started it, but I haven't finished it yet.
That's why I did. Speaking of Netflix, I really liked it.
Speaking of Netflix, and you like anime, 7 Deadly Sins. Gotta watch that.
And Castlevania.
Oh
my gosh. I'll say
Castlevania.
This. Castlevania is my second favorite animated series of all time. First being Batman the Animated Series. It is, and it actually ends well. I was so thankful that it ended well. It has a great ending. I cried. It was so good.
And no, Damien. And I think that's a generational thing with Fooly Cooley.
Oh, excuse me. There we go. Yes, and folks, we did print your things on the screen. All-time favorites: Giant Robot Space Gods, Flying Best One, Young Boy.
It's not FLCO. It's called Fooly Cooley.
Oh, okay.
It's a generation.
Oh, there we go. Fooly Cooley. Okay, never heard.
Did anyone mention One Punch, One Piece?
One Punch. Yes, yeah. One Punch. I'm thinking One Punch Man. I love that one.
One Punch Man. I'm still watching that. So I can't. I don't particularly take
and One Piece
anime that I haven't watched deep enough.
Yeah,
I only watched maybe 1.5 seasons of that.
Yeah, I think One Piece is going to outlive me.
Again. I don't think One Piece actually has an end, and if it does, the rumor has it is that the creator only told this one boy that was in terminal stasis, and I'm not even sure if he died or not, how it ends.
Well, there's a rumor heavily believed that whatever One Piece is, it's actually the friends you made along the way, and that is One Piece. I don't know though. We'll see.
Actually. What I think One Piece is going to end up being a document because of the whole thing about Robin and her upbringing. Because if they ever get to it, she's the only one that could read it to make sense of it.
I hope it's something like that. That would be really cool.
Because again, the whole thing, especially when they talked about the whatchamacallit Knight Raleigh, when he saw Robin, he was like, "Oh, I see." And he took interest in her because she's the only person that could be able to decipher what it was, what they found.
Very cool.
So that was the nugget. That was the nugget that they did on the one where they got the ship coded, and they had to separate and everything. I'm now watching that next season right now. And it turns like Basara Kuma actually did not separate him to punish him. He actually separated to save him. The Navy was about to really just like clamp down on him. So he sent them away for 2 years, and they finally came back after the ship got coded. And now they're back on the ship and they're taking off again.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you all for sharing your anime and manga choices with us. And Ryan, if you're still around, we hope we got you some answers.
I still got more that I could recommend depending on your taste. It's like if you want more slice of life type stuff, look at Manga Dio or what was the name of that? Cell Saga. Stuff to that magnitude. I mean, manga anime has a lot of good slice of life type.
Oh yeah,
anime series.
Well, and that's the thing, Ryan, if you're still listening, the culture over in Japan is way different than ours, whereas we, from almost the beginning, when comics were created in 1934 in America, they were seen as a child's medium. And it wasn't until really about the last 40 years that people started really taking comics seriously, with few exceptions. But over there, you can ride the subway and see business executives, guys in three-piece suits with their briefcases under one arm and a manga in their hand.
Oh yeah.
They
all genres. All genres. It's like you have one businessman reading like a romance manga while the other one is reading a horror one, while the other one is reading a giant robot manga. And this
or a sports manga. They do one on every conceivable sport, and there are before anyone asks, there are adult-oriented ones as well.
Those are the romance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Did we?
No. There's romance, as in how we have over here is like My Teenage Love Affair, and there is what is called
hentai.
Yes,
but it's not called hentai over there.
My greatest example of a good manga / hentai book that you can actually read is called. I know in French it's called La Casa de Amor, but over here in the United States it's called Ogenki Clinic.
Oh yes, I've heard of it. I've not read it, but I've heard of it.
And Ogenki Clinic, just for those who want to check it out, it is about a clinic that only specializes in people who have sexual deviancy. So they come to this particular clinic to get cured of whatever sexual deviancy that they might have or think that they have.
You got that, Brian?
Anyway, nothing. Anyway,
he's looking at Comixology now.
Right.
And I'm sorry, Brian, but you haven't paid for the adult subscription.
Legend of the Overfiend.
Yeah.
That, if I read that correctly, that might be Legend of the Overfiend. Yep, I was right.
Yes, it is. I couldn't read it correctly if I tried. Legend of the Overfiend, not for the faint of heart.
Not for the faint of heart, and not for a person who likes tentacles. If you don't like tentacles, don't watch it.
Yeah, we're not even going to get into tentacles for Ryan's sake. We're shutting the door on that one real fast. So.
I remember being in anime panels where they did one dealing with hentai, and it was entitled "Things That Cannot Be Unseen."
Yeah,
my friend and I was up here like, okay, what could they throw at us? And I know that my buddy, he was more squeamish than I, because I have seen more hentai, like really, really raunchy hentai that he has. They showed Legend of the Overfiend 2. He was done. He was done. It wasn't even a whole movie. It was just a scene from it. He was like, nope, my mind is warped. Get me out of here.
We are out of here.
But yet he would torture me with watching fish fight.
Okay.
Those type of variety, Japanese shows that has like the stupid songs like Fish Fight and the scenes that go along with it. I just up here like, this makes no sense. But it's funny, it's cool. It's like, do I have to make you watch Legend of the Overfiend again? No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yes, they're running the Legend of the Overfiend right now at Gitmo. It's yielding spectacular results. Well, yeah, it's like I visited someone's house and they had some hentai there, and I'm pretty hard to,
We know whose house. You've mentioned it before.
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay.
Again,
Someone that I've mentioned 1,000 times.
If that person is still here, and they
I don't want to embarrass Sarah.
If they're still here and they still into that type of stuff, and they like what they show Brian, I still recommend have her to get the book Super Taboo.
Well, we
So be
talked
sat-
about it. We talked about it
so
a couple
be
weeks
satisfied
ago.
with that. Period.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, and she's still very outspoken. That she's totally fine with people knowing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
so
Well,
Super Taboo.
I was trying to be discreet. I forgot for a moment we're dealing with Sarah. So
Yeah.
anyway, no, I love you, Sarah. We love you.
No, but
So,
Super Taboo is it's right up her alley, especially about the type of stuff that she showed you.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, it could be worse. We could have her to look up movies like Midnight Sleazy Train or the one that I like, which is Living Sex Toy Delivery. The name is very deceptive. The name is very deceptive because of the simple fact that it wasn't. The name makes you think that it's overly sexual,
Mhm.
but it's really a revenge story.
Clyde, what's your
Very
favorite hentai?
story.
I'm gonna win. He's gonna pass out. He's gonna pass out.
You may get more than one with that one, Eric.
Oh, that was so funny. Poor Clyde. Clyde's just putting up with all this.
Clyde's
crap.
just like, oh, you idiots. I'm
Spirited
scared.
Away.
He's waiting for that Batman episode.
He's like, I'm carrying you four
Miyazaki.
losers.
He went back to
Spirited-
Miyazaki.
Spirited Away is the is my, and if you haven't seen the version I'm talking about, you haven't seen.
Oh,
Spirited
there
Away.
it
Oh god. Anyway,
you should see the naughty version of Hal's Moving Castle. I'll tell you that.
there we go. I mean, it's not one of those things you inflate and put in your backyard and let all the kids play in it. It's not.
Not in your backyard, but there is playing in it. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
wait till you see Nebulizer 3.
We haven't even seen number 2 yet, Eric.
Oh,
Oh, we've seen some number 2.
Yeah.
oh.
It's called Checkmate.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, well, on those enlightening moments.
Eric, what are you
Yeah.
drawing tonight, Eric?
Yes, Eric.
That's a good question. I knew you were going to ask me, so I brought up the reference here because this is the first time we've done this. We are not drawing comic book characters or movie
Oh.
characters or anything like that. One of our artists is a author, and she has a book coming out called Purgatory Papers: Watchers of the Damned. So we're going to be drawing her characters based on her descriptions in the book.
oh, cool.
Hey, that's awesome. That is awesome. I like that.
That's good.
It's a cool
Should be
idea.
challenging.
From actual pencil and paper, or in your case, a actual monitor and screen.
Well, you know, I did. I was getting harassed last night on Mike Miller's show. Darn it, Lepresti was on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he comes on all the time and knocks out a piece in 20 minutes and leaves. He did a great Joker. Even well, the theme was clowns.
Creepy
I like
clowns.
yours.
Yeah, I liked yours.
thank
too.
you.
Yeah, I liked yours a lot. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Joke.
that was sweet.
Mine was. Did you know mine was John Wayne Gacy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, but he came in, but he's like, "You're disqualified. You're disqualified. You guys are all doing digital. That doesn't count."
Who said this?
Man.
Miller?
Aaron Lepresti.
Oh, Lepresti. Yeah.
But he's so good and so quick. Oh my
He
god.
really is good. He's
Yeah.
a super talent. He really is. So, well, speaking of super talented, I think we ought to get our super talented backsides out of here because we've been here for over 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I gotta go shovel snow.
I'm waiting till
Oh,
morning
wow.
on that one. I should check outside. I don't know how long ours is supposed to last. But anyway, let's start with Brian Rodman. We'll go counterclockwise. And
All right.
we'll close out the show. How's that sound?
Sounds
Yep.
good.
All right, Brian, take us out. Tell us everybody how they can follow you, please.
Well, you can head to brianrobin.com. There you will find so far I have 2 series available. One is The Nebulizer, post-apocalyptic action comedy about a an asthmatic and his feisty AI-controlled nebulizer suit named Albie as they fight through a post-apocalyptic world filled with allergen mutants. And I also have Memoirs of an Angel. The first 7 issues are available, as well as the first trade paperback, which collects the first 4. It is about a group of infinite and finite beings that race through time and space to rescue a broken and bitter witch hunter from the clutches of the Dark Kingdom. It's like Lord of the Rings meets The Exorcist. And I've got some blog stuff on the website as well. All my social media is at the top of the homepage at brianrodman.com. I'm also 1/4 of the Dastardly Dingoes podcast. And I'm 1/5 of the Comic Book Spectrum crew here. And I am thankful to be here. And I hope to see you guys.
Patreon comic.
Right. I have a Patreon comic called Princess Warriors that I am doing with my nieces. We have 3 entries out so far on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com /Brian Rodman to join the adventure with the 3 sisters, the 3 princess sisters of Atradia, whose parents, the king and queen of Atradia, have been kidnapped by Mog the Mean, who resides through the forest of fright and in the mountains of madness. And if you recognize that name, yes, it is part Adventure Time, part Captain Underpants, part H.P. Lovecraft. So head to patreon.com, check out what we have so far. It's a lot of fun. It's a comedy for all ages. And that's it for me.
Oh, you could thank my allergies there. I'm sorry about that. You know how they act up here.
Yeah.
I am Joe D. McFee. I am the president of Apache Studios. I also have a show on here on the Rising Tide Network called From the Desolate Small Press Publisher, where you can catch that every Saturday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. And I'm also the creator of the book Amazonia, which is out there on Comixology, or you can get it through the company website here at cdcstudios.com. I'm holding up, alternate covers here of our books, as well as the AWF series, which I have the full run. I'm currently going to be working on issue number 5 here shortly, as well as the premiere pro wrestling television show book that we officially call Primetime Saturday Night, with the first story arc being completed and issue number 4 is on its way.
Woohoo!
Yep. So pretty much, and actually, shortly but soon, there also might be a role-playing version of this here.
Ooh.
We don't know, but it's coming soon. But beyond that, you can always catch me on Facebook and DeviantArt. I do post a lot to DeviantArt as of late. You can also catch me on the normal socials as normal here. And I'm always around. I'm going to be here, from time to time here on Comic Book Spectrum, as well as my own show, as well as a couple other shows down the road too. So you never know where you might see me. And I believe now is supposed to be Pro Slayer time.
Nope. Just you.
And
Still
transition
you,
to Pro Slayer.
Nope,
And transition
you,
to Pro Slayer.
Oh, well, you can find me on all the wretched highs of scum and villainy like Facebook and Twitter. I'm the creator of the Zombie World of Oz. Issue 4 will be coming out, and I've set a date. I'm pushing it back to April just to get all my ducks in a row so I could join Brian in the month of April of launching a book. I'm going to launch April 8th. Issue 4 is going to be 40 pages like the last 2 issues were, and I'll be offering a trade paperback and I believe a hardback of issues 1 through 3. Be offering a metal cover of issue 4. Also the mini bust of the Tin Man, which apparently I can't draw tonight because he just looks weird, or he just doesn't look right. The Brick Road looks great. He does not look good. He's top heavy for some reason. Other than that, I mean, you can find me here on Thursday nights, and right after this show, which in 14 minutes, I need to be over on the other show, on Chester C. Busby's show, where we draw independent creators stuff recently, and we're going to flip back and forth when we run out of projects to promote and start doing some regular comic stuff and anime and stuff like that. And that's it. Take it away, Clyde.
Hi, I'm contributing writer Clyde Hall because that's what I mainly do. I started off a few years ago being a comic book reviewer for doomrocket.com, an online site. They've been on a hiatus for the last year, but they're coming back next week, and I get to do reviews for them and for Comics Bookcase. And I also have some published works with www.stormgatepress.com. The other sites are www.comicsbookcase.com and www.doomrocket.com, all one word. On Thursdays, you can find me right here, along with all of these other creative folks, for 1/5 of the Comic Book Spectrum team. Brian K. Morris, take it away.
And he's muted.
And he's muted.
And you're still muted.
You're still muted. You're muted.
I don't want it now. I don't want it now. No, I was talking to Cookie a minute ago, so anyway, I was flirting with my wife. Go figure. Anyway, thank you guys for that impromptu throw to. Anyway, I'm Brian K. Morris, independent publisher and author, and we publish all and write all kinds of wonderful things that you need to own. Go to Amazon. You can find me there. I am mostly on Facebook, but I also am starting to expand myself on Twitter. God help me, pray for me all. And if you want to follow me, all the stuff I do, go to risingtide.pub. That's kind of the nexus of all I have going. Oh, also, we have a book called Biff Bam Eow, where I have an essay on an episode in the 1966 Batman series. Also, new books including The Lost Adventures of Captain Hawkland, the Skyhook Remnant, available now for 99 cents from Stormgate Press and Amazon, and just dropped this week in paperback and ebook is the third volume of the Subterranean Blue Grotto essays on Batman 1966. This is Oof, Boff, Splat. Ask for it by name. And we examine the third season and final season of the Batman TV show, and I'm privileged to get to talk to you about Louis, the very last appearance of Milton Berle as Louis the Lilac, and why the episode is a cheap-looking episode. It's a lot of fun. We get snarky. But anyway, we also do broadcasting. We're on Nevermind the Furthermore Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. And, of course, we're back here next week because this is a lot of fun, and I love these four guys. And I'm muting them now so I don't get any heckling. Anyway, not that I'll stop them. But anyway, folks, we hope you enjoyed tonight's episode, and please check us out next week. Don't forget, please, to also support your local comic book shops, and that's what part of why we do this show, and read a lot of comics. They're good for you. And also, we want to thank our sponsor for tonight's show, Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. Do you need a great book cover for your comic book or your paperback or hardcover? Then if you go to plasmafiregraphics.com, you've come to the right place. Also, check out their Facebook page and give it a like. You'll love what you see there. You can see a great sampling of their published covers, and then inquire there also about Jeffrey Hayes' rates. You'll find them to be very independent, creator friendly. That's plasmafiregraphics.com. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. Also want to thank our Patreon subscribers for helping keep this show on the air. And in exchange for your financial support on a monthly basis, we give you stuff like an exclusive blog and works in progress. And we got some we got some deciding to do about what I'm going to be working on next, and I'm going to let you have a voice in that. But anyway, if you want to see your name on this card and in many of our publications and broadcasts, check us out at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. We're a part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Please, if you aren't watching, if you tune over to Stupid O'Clock, it's a great show, and they're about halfway done by now because we talk a lot. And then at 11 p.m. tonight will be Dan Hollifield's Last Man Standing. Check out our Friday extravaganzas that we'll talk more about tomorrow on Nevermind the Furthermore at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, where I'll be back. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed tonight's show, and thank you for all your patronage. And please, if you're watching us on the rerun, leave a comment down below, and please give us a thumbs up on YouTube or a like on Facebook if you've enjoyed any part of the show or plan to. And then we're going to scroll down to where we need to be and say, as always, folks, thank you sincerely for being here. We appreciate your patronage and your involvement, and we will see you all next week on Comic Book Spectrum. And until then, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great evening, everyone. Take care.
Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows, including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and Nevermind the Furthermore. See you next week.